today during the government shutdown have been calling out sick in order to pick up other work. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Tech stocks brought the markets lower today as the S&P fell by 1%, 75.9 points. The Dow was off nearly 1%. The Nasdaq fell almost 2%, 445 points. Treasury yields were also lower. President Trump announced a deal with drug makers Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk to expand coverage and cut some prices for popular GLP-1 weight loss drugs like Zepbound and Wegovy. It's the latest effort by the Trump administration to rein in drug prices amid cost of living concerns among voters. Despite those concerns, the National Retail Federation predicts robust holiday spending, saying it could exceed $1 trillion for the first time ever. Airports in New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago among the 40 busiest in the United States, where the FAA says it will start cutting flights by 10% as early as tomorrow because of air traffic control staffing shortages prompted by the government shutdown. Brian Clark, ABC News.
We've got stock futures on the minus side this morning. Dow futures down 28. The NASDAQ futures are down 26. S&P futures falling 4. That is the latest news. Traffic is coming up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Nice and clear on the traffic board this morning. Just a minor delay if you're traveling 65 south through the Goodlettsville area. Otherwise, I'm seeing no problems so far this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. Man, do you know all the chaos behind the scenes that's going on, Joan?
I've seen Sam running around, yeah.
Right before broadcast, the computers went down. And so I think that Sam has gotten more steps, more exercise in the last 3 minutes than he's had in the last 2 years. No offense, Sam. I'm right there with you, friend.
I don't know about 2 years, but definitely been a minute.
All right. So anyway, good job, Sam, on getting us back up. So there's a lot that I want to talk about today. Number one, Joan, have you heard the new Nashvegas Anthem. Please tell me no.
I have not.
Okay, so I have not heard this thing either.
Okay.
So I think what we want to do, you know how we do fun with audio?
Yeah.
I think at some point this morning, we'll do like fun with the Nashvegas Anthem. Which, by the way, calling Nashville Nashvegas, is it just me or is that just epically dumb? Like I live here. I never call it Nashvegas. I feel like the people that call Nashvegas, Nashville, Nashvegas, I think that they are perpetually visitors and they don't actually live here. Am I wrong on that?
I think a lot of those people started it when they came and were hanging out with the locals, because as someone that was born and raised here, it slowly kind of trickled in the late 20-teens that was starting to become a term.
Yeah.
As Broadway became a more popular place to party.
So do you agree that you like Nashvegas as a moniker for Nashville?
No, I agree with you that it's dumb.
I think it's dumb.
It's there's Vegas and there's Nashville.
Nobody calls Las Vegas like Vegasville. Whatever. All right. Hey.
Yeah, but okay.
Go ahead, Joan.
If you're somebody who's like sort of on the outside looking in, kind of like you may have been before, Dan, but arriving here and thinking of Nashville as like this cute, hometowny kind of place where there's people always strumming their guitars and, you know, there's places to go hear music and hang out. And then you see like the ridiculousness that happens on Broadway after dark.
Oh, my goodness
After
gracious.
dark. With the party buses, it happens in broad daylight.
So I just feel like there's an element of that rings true to at least to me when I think about what I thought Nashville was and the reality of what it is now that I'm here and I'm looking at it going, holy cow,
It used to be that.
She dresses like that.
It used to be what you said. It used to be you'd go into a lot of bars and they had what they call writers' rounds, and you'd have singers trying to make it. They still have that to a degree, but it used to be just every other venue you could go into, every other bar, there'd be some people with their guitars, some, no-name groups that would just get up there and jam. That's what it was. That's what I miss.
So, a couple of things, real quick. The only thing that I knew about Nashville when I moved here, because they didn't fly me in for an interview. It was all done on phone.
You're kidding me.
They never flew me in for an interview. No.
That never happens in radio.
You're being facetious. I think you're being facetious.
Well, I mean, I never heard of it before. So go ahead.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
well, in fairness, and it's just going to sound like I'm bragging. People know me in the industry.
Yes,
so
yes.
Anyway, whatever. So the only thing I knew about Nashville was what I saw on the TV show.
Right.
Right. So when I got here, and there were two opportunities, one in Kansas City, one in Nashville. I was presented with both. I chose Nashville, and that's what I chose to pursue. So it was almost entirely based on, the TV show Nashville is pretty cool. Makes Nashville look really cool. Did some research, and I came here, and I actually, do you know what's so funny, Joan? Is that the longer that I'm here, the more I actually appreciate Nashville itself, as far as Broadway and downtown and the bars and the rooftop restaurants and all that kind of stuff. I actually appreciate it now more these days than when I arrived here 12 years ago, almost 12 years ago. I have a much deeper appreciation for going into downtown, but I know when to go. Like, I'm not going to go into Nashville unless I absolutely have to on a Saturday night, like for a concert, for example, or a Preds game. But if I'm going to go into Nashville, it's going to be for brunch, for example. It'll be like brunch on the top of Ole Red, which is one of my, these days, that is one of my absolutely favorite things to do, is have lunch up on the roof of Ole Red. That's what I like to do, and that's what Amy likes to do too.
I wonder if that's enough to get Blake Shelton on the show.
To get who on the... No, people. Anyway, whatever. So
I'm going to... My husband and I have tickets to a show tomorrow in Nashville. So, but
what are you seeing?
We're seeing Jamie Lissow at Zanies. You don't know? Okay.
Oh, a comedian.
Yeah, he's a comedian. He's always on Gutfeld.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And he's super funny. So we're looking forward to it. It's a 4:00 show. And I'm thinking that we can get out in time before, like, all the craziness happens.
That's become more unpredictable over there.
Yeah.
It used to be, I went to school downtown, and I could be dropped off in the morning at 8 and picked up at 3, and there was no traffic, no breakneck, people screaming at each other traffic on the parkways at that point. Now it is a roll of the dice anytime between 2 and 6.
Well, it's a roll of the dice. So what is it?
Nashvegas.
Damn it.
Nashvegas.
What is wrong with you, Sam?
Bam.
You just blew the whole bit.
It's a pick of the guitar string. I don't know.
Okay, real quick, and then we got to get to work.
Okay.
What has changed in the last 12 years since I got here? It's the damn scooters.
You think it's scooters or do you think it's pedal bars?
I think it's the pedal taverns and the party buses.
Yeah, but they've always been here.
No, they have not.
They've been here since I've been here. The Woo Girls, woo!
Yeah, the Woo Girl. But I would say probably the last 7 years is really the emergence of these party buses. I mean, I think Metro Council had to have a meeting because some dude got ran over. He fell out.
Oh, I remember that.
Got run over, and it,
Well,
I'm just tired of being able to see that people aren't wearing underwear. Please wear underwear if you're going to be on a party bus, for the love of God. Oh yeah.
I've never in my life noticed that somebody's not wearing underwear.
Oh, they like to show
Are you talking
traffic.
about brasiers, or are you talking about panties?
The second one.
It's okay to say panties on the radio. Just so we're clear. Joan, am I making this weird?
No, well, it got weird.
Okay.
When Sam mentioned panties.
I didn't mention it. The lack thereof.
Sam's all freaked out because me and Joan are using the word
Hold on.
panties.
So-
Is panties like the word moist
There's
to
something.
you?
Oh, moist.
So now Joan has a thing about the word moist.
So
Joan,
Sam,
how do you like your cakes?
chocolate. Bam.
You like them dry?
Sam, listen, I want to ask you a question. How do you know that about people on a party bus unless you were on a party bus?
Because the bus is elevated, right, above the vehicle in traffic. And some of these fatherless individuals is what I would categorize them as.
Fatherless individuals.
Wow.
Like
Dang.
to
Judgy
publicize. Yeah. A little bit.
So what are they doing? Like
Hiking their
rockets,
legs up.
like kicks,
Yeah.
and on the party bus?
Yes.
Whoa.
I have never in my life seen that.
You've
but here's the
been
thing.
lucky.
Dan's
Joan?
going to be on Broadway today, like looking for party buses. Where are they?
Come on, ladies, do the Rockettes kick. Yeah, that wouldn't be creepy at all. Old bald guy. I've never seen that. You know what? I would love to. I guarantee you, I've not opened up because of all the train wreckery that was happening right before the show. I've not opened up the super text line yet. I know that there's one of two things that are happening on the super text line right now. Number one, get to the news, damn it, get to the news.
Yeah.
Right? There's those people.
Yes.
And then there's also the people that are going to chime in and say, oh, yeah, we notice people without underwear on Broadway all the time. Or,
Yeah.
That's
or,
what you're going to see in a text.
or Sam's a creeper. One of those two. What do you think it's going to be? I've not even opened up. Do you have the super text line open?
I have it open. I'm seeing a lot of Crashville and Nastyville.
Nastyville's right.
Nastyville. Well, listen, do you know how many times I've stepped over vomit? Like, I'm not, I'm sorry. People are eating. I'm sorry. It's
Yikes.
breakfast time. But people are absolutely right. But can I just say this too? Y'all have not seen Los Angeles or Orange County or places like Philadelphia. No offense, Joan. Philadelphia, right? So,
Or
if
New Orleans.
Or New
Ooh,
Orleans. I've been to all of these places.
Yeah.
So
New
if you
Orleans
think
is-
Nashville is like Nastyville, that's all fine, well, and good.
Bourbon Street is like a urinal.
But you need to go to other cities too to put it all in perspective, because New York, New Orleans, Philadelphia,
Oh, my God.
California, all of these states and all of these cities, Chicago, are much worse. And I mean far, far worse than anything that you've seen on Broadway. I'm telling you that, folks, because, the same people that will say, oh, Nashville is just as bad as ... are the same people that will say, oh, Nashville traffic is just as bad as the traffic in Atlanta or Los Angeles. Folks, I love every single one of you, even the hate listeners. You don't know what you're talking about.
Speaking
you just
of traffic,
don't.
there's nothing going on.
Speaking of which, do you know right now in Los Angeles, well, I'll say it this way. At 516 in Los Angeles, I guarantee you the 405 and the 101 are already jacked up. I can guarantee you that. How do I know? Because I used to be a traffic reporter in Los Angeles. Here in Nashville, 5:16 in the morning, there's nothing going on. Now, traffic is not nearly as bad in Los Angeles these days because all the illegal aliens are afraid to come outside. How many? Can I ask this question, Joan? If you're on the super text line,
Yeah.
how many people are screaming at me to start doing the news?
I am not seeing anybody saying that.
Okay, because usually that's what I get.
You get some grace on Friday.
9577 says, I love when y'all have conversations like this.
Thank you, 90.
There you go.
90 what?
90. Where'd they go? 9577.
This is one of those opening segments where people are just now chiming in, and it's
Yeah.
I know. All right. Well, since we're already screwing around, you want to hear real quick the and then I promise at 5:30. So
He's gonna get to it.
5:35. You have President Trump has pardoned former Tennessee Speaker Glenn Casada, his former Chief of Staff Casada+Cothren. No word on the state representative. I forget her name.
Robin,
who was also
something Robin.
Yeah, Robin Hicks or something.
I have that. Yeah, I have it coming up.
You know
in
what's
the
so
news.
funny? On my notes, I said no word, and then I didn't finish the sentence because then we started having problems with the computers. Anyway,
Robin Smith.
Robin Smith. That's
I have it
exactly
coming up,
right.
yeah.
President Trump has pardoned Glenn Casada and Casada+Cothren. No word on Robin Smith, who actually former state lawmaker, who dropped the dime on Casada and Cothren. So it's a fascinating story, and this is certainly one that is going to divide the Republican Party here in the state of Tennessee. And I don't want to get into all of it now because it's a very cumbersome story. There's a lot of details and stuff that I've got to get into. But I want to know a couple of things. Let's do a Daily Dan poll. Hey, let's do a Daily Dan poll. Do you believe that Donald Trump was right in pardoning Glenn Casada and Casada+Cothren? I woke up this morning, Joan. I don't know when this came down.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was
saw it last night, and I
absolutely
was
shocked.
like scratching my head like, why is President Trump getting involved in this?
Well, these guys, they went through a grand jury and understood it was Biden's FBI when all this came down, but they were indicted by a grand jury, and they had a jury that convicted them of, 16, 17 different charges related to, bribery and kickback and all that kind. They were convicted by a jury. So I want to know, and it's funny because Joan and I, when we first saw each other, within the first 30 seconds, Joan, we both said the same thing.
Yeah.
Who put this in front of Donald Trump?
Yeah, who would have said, hey, Donald Trump, can you pardon these guys? Who in Tennessee is in the president's ear?
Right, because this is, number one, it felt awfully random. Maybe it's not. But, if you know anything about the story, and I was here in 2019, 2021, when all this was going on, I covered this. So I just don't understand. And it's a whole, that's why I don't have enough time to do it now, but it's a whole thing. And so can you put that on the Daily Dan poll for YouTube? If you watch us on YouTube, or you can take the poll. And how did we word the poll?
Do you believe Donald Trump was right to pardon Casada and Cothren?
All right, there you go. Because I'm just going to tell you my official opinion right up front, my official talk show host opinion. I don't think so. I think he was wrong on this one. And I can say that as a Trump supporter, but I think that the president might be getting some bad advice on some things. I'm just telling you.
Which we don't want any of that because that was his first administration.
His first term, he got some bad advice from people.
All kinds of bad advice. It's time to stop that right away.
So I'm trying to get a hold of Cameron Sexton, current Speaker of the House Cameron Sexton, to see if he wants to, because he loves getting text messages from me at 4:54 in the morning. But I want to know what he thinks about all this. And by the way, there was, and I'll get into this during my official monologue on this, but the folks at Tennessee Stands actually accused Cameron Sexton, current Speaker of the House Cameron Sexton, of having a part in Glenn Casada's downfall so that Sexton himself could ascend to the Speaker of the House position in the Tennessee State House. That is actually their timeline. With all due respect to Tennessee Stands, but their timeline is way off, and I'll explain this further in the official monologue on this. But Casada he had already been forced to resign from his speakership duties because of the, wait for it, you people that have been here a long time, the texting scandal between Glenn Casada and his chief of staff at the time, Casada+Cothren, where if you folks remember, they were texting all kinds of stuff back and forth. I mean, it was misogynistic. There's some racist stuff in there as well. You know, just very bad. How bad was it, you may ask? It was so bad that Governor Bill Lee at the time threatened to call a special session to force the lawmakers to, boot him from the speakership position. He ultimately stepped down. He did stay in the House of Representatives until his term ended in 2022, I guess. So the folks over there at Tennessee Stands, their timeline is off because it wasn't until after Cameron Sexton became speaker that all of this other stuff started happening, where they were accused of having mailers printed by their own company, and they got kickbacks in this whole thing. Again, it's a long, convoluted story, and I don't know how much people know about the intricacies of this story. What are people saying so far on the Daily Dan poll on YouTube?
No. He was not right.
Yeah,
no, not right to have pardoned.
Donald Trump was wrong in pardoning these folks.
Yeah,
okay.
And I tend to agree, especially just going back over the evidence the FBI had against them.
Oh,
and the procedure went about, everything was lawful and in place.
Yeah, everything was done correctly. There was no, as a matter of fact, the judge who presided over the case was not a Biden judge. It was a Trump-appointed judge. Eli Richardson, I think his name was. So it's a whole thing. Hey, do you want to hear the, do you have it queued up?
I sent it to you.
I know you did, but you know how things go in here.
We can get it 5:35.
All right, coming up, we're going to do a number of things. We are going to listen to, I guess, the new Nashvegas Anthem, which I didn't even know.
Sean Connery.
I know, right? So we're going to listen to the Nashvegas Anthem. I don't know. I guess this is new.
Yep. It was released yesterday.
All right. I wonder how good or bad. Hey, Joan, do you think it's good or bad?
Well, I'm sure it's going to be good.
What do you think, Sam?
I previewed the first 10 seconds, and I'm curious. I'll say that much.
Okay. All right. Sam's got a future in politics. I'm going to wait and see what happens. Joan, you think? I think it's going to be a little corny. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be a little. It's going to be a little cheesy.
So you haven't listened to it yet?
No, that's the whole. That's the whole point, Joan.
Okay, gotcha.
It's like fun with audio. This is an extension of fun with audio. All right, it is 5:24. Nashville's Morning News, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 529 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN 615-737-9986 is the Super Text line. We had a great conversation. If you missed it, I'm assuming we podcast the conversation that we had with Hans von Spakovsky about Trump's tariffs in front of the Supreme Court. The president talked about, because I asked Hans von Spakovsky, okay, what about the 750 to billion to $1 trillion that we've received in tariffs from other countries? What happens if the Supreme Court decides to side against the Trump administration in that? And the president answered this way.
Issues are ruling. It could be several weeks. Are you going to lay out any new additional tariffs before?
I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to hope that we win. I can't imagine that anybody would do that kind of devastation to our country. You know, we'd have to pay back trillions of dollars. We've taken in trillions. We haven't taken in billions. We've taken in trillions of dollars. We've made trade deals based on that give us, as an example, European Union, $950 billion. Japan, $650 billion. South Korea, $350 billion. Without this, we're not talking about that kind of money. And they're okay. They're satisfied. They love us. I just left. They all love us. So it's not like we're such bad people. But they were doing it to us until I came along.
All right, so that is President Trump. We'll have to see what happens. All eyes on the Supreme Court. It is 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is 5:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Got some outdoor plans for tonight? Well, you might want to make some alternate plans. Stefano tells us that bad weather is headed our way.
We're really going to watch the very late afternoon and through the evening, a window between about 4 o'clock in the afternoon and 11 o'clock tonight for more showers and thunderstorms to fire up, maybe around the Nashville metro now right around dinner time, and then sliding into the plateau between 7 and 9 o'clock before that finally ends up moving out of here right around 10, 11 o'clock.
Now, the risk of severe weather, he says, is a 2 out of 5. Keep it here. We'll bring you all the latest info on these storms. The search continues today for a 46-year-old Brentwood man wanted for crimes including sexual exploitation of a child and violating sex offender laws. Police in Williamson County said they tried to pull over a car driven by William Frankenbach yesterday, but he led him on a pursuit, and then he abandoned his car right near Ascension St. Thomas West Hospital in Nashville, and they believed that he ran into the building. Now, after a search, the hospital was reopened, but Frankenbach is still missing. Anyone with information should call 615-790-5550 or submit a tip to Crime Stoppers of Williamson County. Former Tennessee House Speaker Glenn Casada and his former chief of staff, Casada+Cothren, have been pardoned by President Trump. The pair recently sentenced for public corruption convictions tied to fake political consulting firm. News 2's Alicia Wemberly.
According to the Department of Justice, the two engaged in a money-making scheme while in office. They deceived their colleagues in the General Assembly to fund the company Phoenix Solutions, Cothren's political consulting business he established with Casada's help.
This announcement didn't say if the president also pardoned former state rep Robin Smith, who had received an 8-month sentence. She cooperated with prosecutors and testified against Casada+Cothren. That is the latest news. We've got traffic just ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, we have no problems this morning on 24, at least so far. It is a little bit slow this morning heading west on 40 as you get near the airport. Also taking 65 into Nashville around the Goodlettsville area. You'll find it a little bit slow this morning, just some volume there. No problems otherwise on the roads. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan or Sam, I know that there are flight delays all across the country. And CNN, we've got CNN on in here. Now, flight delays courtesy of, brought to you by the Democrat Party. Just really quickly, I've asked Sam, are there any flight delays as of yet coming out of,
Out of BNA?
BNA? Trashville? As people are saying on the super text line?
I'm looking at the website right now. Only one flight has been canceled. It was a Southwest flight to Orlando, or I'm sorry, coming in from Orlando. So other than that, everything else that was supposed to take off this morning or land this morning looks like it's on schedule.
Yeah, this is a flight. The headline, real quick, Jones. The headline is Flight Mayhem. America's Flightmare begins as more than 700 departures already canceled across the U.S. Yeah. So what are you going to say, Joan?
So I follow also FlightView, and they're saying that it is 60-40%. So 60% of flights, departures and arrivals are on time. 40% are late. None are very late.
Okay.
But the FAA status is called normal there. So this flight slowdown is not happening at BNA, but it is happening at Memphis.
Yes, and we talked about that earlier this week. So, all right, well, we'll keep an eye on it. Listen, if you are unfortunate enough to be flying this weekend, good luck to you. It's going to be rough. It's also going to be rough weather-wise with some possible storms coming in. About, they say, Joan, you say dinner time? So about 5, 6 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Extending through the evening hours, straight into about 11 o'clock tonight is when it'll all be out of here.
Okay, very good. You know what I say to that kind of weather?
What's that?
Get on down the road.
Keep
going east.
That's like Joe Biden saying, stop. Is that what he said?
Don't.
He
said don't. Remember when he told Iran, don't. And do you know what? Do you know what Iran did?
They did.
They did.
Yeah.
Don't.
Did. Whatever. All right, here's the Nashville new anthem. They call it the Nashvegas Anthem. And I don't know. Without further ado, here it is. Joan, I want to know what you think. Sam, I want to know what you think. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play the whole thing. 2 minutes, 54 seconds. Also, folks on the super text line, let me know what you think about the new Nashvegas Anthem. And by the way, it says Broadway and Bitter.
We're out on Broadway in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. Ladies, you could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you chose to get over him in Nash Vegas.
It's going to be a man-hating song. I already don't like it.
It's starting to sound like it.
I already don't like it. It's like, okay, so now, so in the first 5 seconds, it's going to be about a dude that done you wrong.
Yeah, and if you're trying to get over him in Nash Vegas, you're either leaving with a severe hangover or some kind of venereal disease.
Well, as was discussed earlier, clearly, according to Sam, women in Nash Vegas don't wear underwear or panties. I like it. I do. I like it. really like this song.
Okay.
Do you don't?
I'm trying to decide, is there an actual writer and musicians, or is this an AI-generated song?
You know what? It says Tracy Lynn.
It's a real song.
It's a real song.
It's a real song.
Sung by apparently a real person. And, yeah.
Long line and out in Costa Rosa gets us right inside. Dead shots at HTC, old red and Chiefs got bands tonight. Meg eyes at jelly rolls, new friends and low places. Head Roberts, nudies, bottoms up at the stage lights. 1,000 boys audition, then I hang out with me. But only getting back with you just feels like what I need. I'm ready born way in Nashville, looking for that love deal. Trying to find my heart, but it belongs to you still.
8602. I am 70 and a woman, and I hate it already. 1477. One word. Yuck.
These are people who know music.
7127. That song sucks.
I have just one word for that song. Don't.
Can we really not come up with a better song than this? Says 7127.
Nick says horrible.
0404. Sorry, this sounds like AI.
Yeah.
4612. I thought I was on 95.5 for a second. No. Dan would like that piece of 4039. You ready?
Yeah.
Dan would like that piece of filth. This is garbage. Wow. Hate comes early this morning.
Yeah.
0164. That's terrible. Jerry says, I can barely understand a word that she says, and I don't like it. How do we go from the Judds to this? Says 14. Oh, wow. They're coming in. They're coming. Everybody hates this, man.
In my ears. Oh, my God.
1313. Absolute trash.
Can we have a palate cleanser real quick? That was awful.
Really?
That was bad.
I'm
Joan, what did you think?
I'm not a fan. I have to say, I'm not.
Okay, so you know the Carrie Underwood Sunday Night Football theme?
Yes.
It sounds exactly like that, but instead we're complaining about men and getting drunk about it. Not that I have an issue with complaining about men, because I do it all the time too. However, it's so touristy, so fakey sounding, and it's not really country. It's pop. This is country.
What is this?
A palate cleanser.
I don't know who this is, but if this is going to get me pulled off YouTube today, I'm going to be really mad at you.
Yeah.
John Michael Montgomery sold the Grundy County auction incident.
Do you know when I need pot it down? Do you know who I like when I need a palate cleanser? The King. Do you know who the King is?
Elvis?
George Strait.
Oh,
come on, guys.
Okay.
Really?
Sorry.
Elvis? Well, Elvis.
You just
Memphis,
say
okay.
just the King.
The King.
Thank you very much.
No. George Strait, man. George Strait.
That's the King of Texas.
If I want to argue with Amy, I'll put George Strait on the player in the car.
And then when you realize you've made a mistake, do you put on the specific cross my heart and I promise to?
Do you know what happens actually? And I don't know if you guys are like this, but with my spouse, with my Amy, my wife,
my Amy,
whatever her name is. So we'll argue actually as to what we put on the radio or what music we listen to. And so there's sometimes we'll trade off. Like I'll choose a couple of songs and then she'll choose a couple of songs. And, if I catch her in a good mood, she'll put on something that I actually like. But then I find ourselves, we start like sort of hate selecting where she'll choose. I've talked about this before. She'll choose like Cardi B to tick me off. And then I'll pick up like Huey Lewis to anger her.
You two make such an interesting couple.
Why is that, Joan?
Choosing songs to tick each other off.
It's all in good fun.
Okay.
It is all in good fun.
I'm lucky. My wife and
until
I
she
love
brings
the
out
music.
the Tupac, then it gets serious.
Oh, gosh.
What were you saying, Sam?
I was going to say I'm lucky. My wife and I love the same music. Pretty effortless.
You are. Well, you know what? Here's the thing.
You're right. I'm not 17 years older than her.
Today is my birthday. Can you play George Strait for me? No, because I know that'll get me pulled off YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Just take it out of the stream. The stream can suffer.
Well, anyway, but happy birthday, 4013.
What is the greatest George Strait song?
Heartland. My favorite is Heartland. That is my all-time. Heartland is one of my all-time favorite George Strait songs.
Okay.
There's just so many. My favorite is Heartland. That's going to be my fave.
Joan,
actually.
do you have a favorite George Strait song?
Joan doesn't know any George Strait songs, clearly.
Hey,
Joan, just say Heartland and you'll be safe.
Okay, Heartland.
There you go. Atta girl.
You've lived here how long?
That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
I'm going to go Carrying Your Love With Me. Pretty good
Okay. You know what? So you want to hear my... This is so stupid. I apologize, people, but it is Friday.
Yeah.
My favorite George Strait songs, this is what's on my playlist, all right? Amarillo by Morning.
Ooh.
Carrying Your Love With Me.
Mm-hmm.
Troubadour Makes Me Cry. Write This Down is another one.
That's another good one.
I mean, I've got a lot. I've got a lot here. So, and of course, again, Heartland. So, yeah, I'm a big George Strait fan. And he is the king. I saw him play in Los Angeles many years ago. You know who opened up for George Strait? One of my other favorites, Jody Messina. Jody Messina opening up for George Strait I think it was at the LA Forum. She played a version of, oh my goodness gracious. It was AC/DC. I'm not the biggest AC/DC fan. I'm sorry, Johnny B and Ken. But she played a version of an AC/DC song that absolutely rocked the place. It was amazing. I'm such a Jody Messina fan too.
No, it is very interesting. You think country artists, country music, sometimes they'll venture out and cover something. I did at the CMA Awards over a decade ago, and I forget the artist, but he got up there and played Pink Floyd in the middle of the CMA show. It was crazy.
6556. Today is not my birthday. Can you not play that anthem again? You know what? Okay. In fairness to me, with the exception of a lot of Amy's music, I'm actually amenable to a lot of different kinds of music. Do you know what I was rocking to the other day? I think this was yesterday. Do you know what I was listening to? The soundtrack to Grease.
Oh, wow.
That's just dating yourself.
I know, but you know what? I'm like, oh my God, why is that suddenly in my head?
Were you dancing in the car?
I was doing the shoulder shuffle. I'll admit to that. I was doing the shoulder shuffle.
Did you reach up and try to run your fingers through your
Sorry.
We gotta go. Anyway, so there you go. I don't know. I guess I'm going to be at odds with the listeners.
You like it?
Yet again. Yeah, I did. I said I liked it. Yeah. But again, I'm very forgiving. Now, will I go out of... Now, I would like, by the way, a couple of things. Number one is in regards to Amy. That actually is something that she and I did a lot when we first started dating, is the music battles. But these days, we have, I think, probably one artist that we can both agree on. You know who that is, Joan? Do you know who that is, Sam? The one artist Amy and I can both agree on?
Ozzy?
No.
You said Ozzy?
No.
Carrie Underwood.
Morgan Wallen.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
If we're going on a long road trip, we can put on just our playlist of Morgan Wallen, and the music battles are a thing of the past. So that is the one of the artists. There's a lot of other artists that we can agree on. I think, do you know how we actually fixed the music battles? And I gotta credit Amy with this. We fixed the music battles by Amy came up with a playlist that we both agree on. So there is some Carrie Underwood in there. There's some Tim McGraw. There's some Def Leppard in there as well. There might be an Ozzy song or two. It's the most eclectic thing that you've ever heard. But if you're trying to get, me and Amy and I to, agree on a long car ride, you're going to have a lot of Morgan Wallen. You're going to have a lot of, modern day country. And I can almost guarantee you that...
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You would not hear this. I would like, by the way, just in because, I'm all about equity. I don't know if you folks know this. I'm all about equity. So I would like now a song, a version of Nashvegas' Anthem that is sung by a man who is complaining about the fact that some woman did him wrong.
No, it should be a song sung by a man about his fiance going to Nashville and cheating on him, because I guarantee you that happens every weekend in this town for the bachelorette getaways.
Have you ever talked to people who actually work?
We took a friend of mine.
bus things?
Yeah. So we took a friend of mine out for his bachelor weekend, and we went out to Yeehaw and had a great and the party buses were pulling up, and one of the drivers was getting out. And I'm like, how crazy is it to operate one of those things? He's like, if it weren't for the money, it's too stressful.
You lose
These people get too crazy.
Yeah. You lose all faith in humanity.
Yeah.
Is what happens. So anyway, I guess that is then the end of the Nashvegas theme for Nashville's Morning News. Okay.
I think we can safely nix that.
Was there one person on the? Can I ask this? Was there one person that liked it? Like on the super text line? I didn't see one person that liked it.
The YouTube chat was all thumbs down.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah.
Well, we love the YouTube
please make
chatters.
it stop. My ears are bleeding.
I'm sorry. Do you know what? I could just play Nancy Pelosi and AOC on a loop. I could really piss people off then.
No, you
Shut
can't.
up.
Yeah.
All right, we got to go. I promise. I'm going to get to the news. And that is going to be when we come back from the news with Joan Jones. There is a lot going on, including President Trump. By the way, where are we? We talked about this earlier. Where are we on the Daily Dan poll? Where do you agree with President Donald Trump pardoning former Tennessee Speaker of the House Glenn Casada and his former Chief of Staff Casada+Cothren? Full pardons. I don't know what time this came down, but I woke up to the news. And I think it happened last night. I don't know if Matt Murphy had a chance to talk about this yesterday afternoon. Where are we at on the Daily Dan poll?
To my understanding, Casada was facing 3 years in prison.
Yes.
And we are at 78% saying no, it was not right of Trump to pardon him.
Okay, 5:54. Joan, what's coming up in the news?
Yeah, there is a word that there's a Homeland Security Task Force here in Nashville. But guess what? It's been operating behind the scenes for months. Details coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:58, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I knew there was going to be one, Joan.
Only one?
92.23. I turn on WTN for the morning news. Y'all live up to the talk station because talking about George Strait and AC/DC songs aren't news. Click as I turn off WTN. Can I say, I'm just going to say this, though. In my defense, that what we just did in the 5 o'clock hour will by far get more reaction from the YouTube chat and the super text line and I just got into my email and emails than anything else that I do today. Like I'm telling you, and here's the reason why we do that is because number one, it's local. It got us talking about Nashville and tourism and all the other things that go along with it. So yeah, it's a news story.
Yeah, the YouTube chat was running like a CVS receipt while it was playing.
What? Running like a CVS receipt?
Because CVS receipts are obnoxiously long and keep flowing. They just, you don't know when it's going to end. That went over. Okay.
Way over. Joan.
I didn't get it.
Thank you, Joan.
What? All right.
Hey, real quick, you want to hear some news? This was Donald Trump and his reaction to Nancy Pelosi officially retiring.
I think she's an evil woman. I'm glad she's retiring. I think she did the country a great service by retiring. I think she was a tremendous liability for the country.
And on Dick Cheney.
I thought she was an evil woman who did a poor job, who cost the country a lot in damages and in reputation. I thought she was terrible.
There you go. Donald Trump. There's your news.
Evil woman.
And he's only saying it that way because she's still alive. Notice how when Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed, he was very solemn.
Well,
wow,
you know what?
You're telling me for the first time.
So when Nancy Pelosi dies, who knows when that'll be? We don't wish death on anyone. But when Nancy Pelosi dies, that's going to be a sticky wicket for Trump. But, you know, I just said this recently for somebody. I don't remember who it was. But when people die, when politicians die, okay. But you still have to talk about what they did when they were politicians and what their...
Oh, it was that quail hunter.
Oh, it was Dick Cheney. That's right. I was talking about Dick Cheney. It was like, all right, you know what? He's dead. Sorry, he's dead. You know, thoughts and prayers to the family. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he betrayed his party by supporting Kamala Harris during the presidential election. And one of the last things he experienced was the absolute middle finger that conservatives gave back to him. Talking about Dick Cheney. 6 o'clock on WTN.
Good morning. It's now 6:01, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Want to let drivers know that on the south side this morning on 40 westbound at Hermitage Avenue, exit 212, they're still picking up the work this morning. There's some road work there. The left lane is blocked off. Careful in that area. It looks really slow. Big announcement yesterday about a crime-battling task force here in Tennessee. Here's Channel 4's Braden Ross.
It's a Homeland Security task force created, and it comes from an executive order signed by President Trump on his first day in office. That was back in January. And it directed the Department of Homeland Security to create a task force like this in every state. And these efforts have been underway here in Tennessee since around March, they said today, but today makes the task force official.
Metro Nashville Police is part of that task force. Chief John Drake saying that the city is safer for it.
Just over 2 years ago, detectives in our Specialized Investigations Division saw a rise in violent crime, including non-lethal shooting and homicides connected to the transnational criminal organization MS-13.
Now, on a separate move, officials said ICE is planning to open a national call center here in Nashville to help locate undocumented children for possible deportation. Investigators still combing through the debris field left after the deadly crash of a UPS cargo jet in Louisville. 13 people confirmed dead, most of them killed when the plane hit an industrial area near the airport.
2 victims killed on the ground have now been identified as Luis Nashvegas and his 3-year-old granddaughter, Kimberly, who were visiting the scrapyard near the airport to collect metal. In addition to the 13 killed, at least 9 other people are missing.
ABC's Mola Lengi. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Investors worried that AI shares might be overvalued sent stocks plummeting Thursday. The Dow Jones lost nearly 400 points to close back below 47,000. The S&P fell 1.1%, while the Nasdaq took the hardest hit, dropping nearly 2%. With the government shutdown dragging on, the FAA's promised throttling down of the nation's airspace capacity has set in. Hundreds of airline flights are canceled today. Thousands of passengers are scrambling to make other arrangements. CEO Elon Musk has won his trillion-dollar pay package from Tesla, but with strings attached. Shareholders want Musk to boost the electric car company's valuation to $8.5 trillion by 2035 and to have 1 million Tesla robo-taxis on the street. Watch for lines at the corner convenience store today. The Mega Millions jackpot has grown to $843 million, the eighth largest in the game's history. Tonight's drawing will be the 38th since the jackpot was won in late June. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Looks like we have a setup for more losses on the market today. The Dow futures minus 81, NASDAQ futures down 74, S&P futures, they're down 14 points. That's the latest news. Traffic next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. So they are still picking up that road work this morning on 40 westbound at Hermitage Avenue. And now in that spot, there's a stalled out car and the right lane is blocked off by a big delays around it as well. If you're traveling on 24, things begin to back up around the Smyrna area all the way into Nashville now. That's just some volume. And it looks like traffic volume is picking up too on 65 heading in from the north. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.606 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you and happy Friday to you. All right, so President Trump, I'm going to be honest with you. I was shocked by this. President Trump has pardoned former Tennessee House Speaker Glenn Casada and his former Chief of Staff, Casada+Cothren. Now, the reason I'm so surprised by this, when all of this went down back in like 2018, 2019, 2020, I covered this extensively. And so I'm just going to tell you, I'm surprised that the president did this because in my humble talk show host opinion, the evidence was there to convict them. So also involved in this, and I've got all kinds of video with this. So watch the Super Text line and also the Super Talk TV. Also involved was a state representative out of Hickson, Robin Smith. You remember her? After Casada+Cothren, they were convicted on charges related to bribery and kickbacks. So let's retrace just a little bit. You've got to go back to 2022. The accusation that Casada and his former chief of staff, a guy by the name of Casada+Cothren, and Representative Smith started this bogus company called Phoenix Solutions, where they printed up mailers for politicians, but ultimately this was a fake company, and they were getting kickbacks. Now, prosecutors said that they received more than $35,000 in bribes and kickbacks because, again, this company, Phoenix Solutions, they did all of these services, was secretly run by Casada+Cothren and Glenn Casada and this Robin Smith. But nobody knew it at the time in the State House. And so you had Glenn Casada. The accusation was that you had Glenn Casada running around at the time as the former speaker. We'll get into that. But you had Glenn Casada running around trying to convince people to use this Phoenix Solutions for, their mailers and other political stuff, whatever it was. But nobody knew it at the time that it was actually owned or being run by Casada+Cothren. By the way, the disgraced Casada+Cothren. Again, it was called Phoenix Solutions, and Cothren used a fake name, Matthew Phoenix, to hide his identity. This was from Channel 5.
While the need for secrecy, at the time, Casada and Cothren still had, quote, radioactive reputations after a texting scandal first uncovered by News Channel 5 Investigates. The prosecution revealed their desire to hide their involvement also included lying on their Tennessee Ethics Commission forms. Casada and Smith did not disclose they made money off of Phoenix Solutions as a part of their income.
All right. So, again, that was from Channel 5 at the time. So that texting scandal, we touched on this in the 5, but that texting scandal was really bad between Casada and Casada+Cothren. So there were these text messages that went back and forth that were very, misogynistic and sexually explicit, racist and lewd. They were so bad. And this was when Casada was the Speaker of the Tennessee House. And so they were so bad that Governor Bill Lee actually threatened a special session to remove Glenn Casada from the speakership if he didn't step down himself. And the Republicans in the House passed a no confidence vote against him as well. That's how bad these text messages were. And that was the first time that ever happened in Tennessee history. And so Casada ultimately ended up stepping down because of the texting scandal, but he was still in the state legislature for another couple of years. He just didn't have any leadership role. And so then the case, ultimately going back to the case regarding Phoenix Solutions, the case ultimately went before a grand jury, and he was indicted, and then a jury trial. And so Glenn Casada was convicted on 14 counts: conspiracy, honest services fraud, bribery, theft, money laundering. Casada+Cothren has similar charges as well. And so this was a situation. And by the way, Robin Smith, that other state lawmaker, she dropped the dime on him. She ultimately ended up cooperating with the prosecution against Casada and Cothren. And so the evidence was there. And Donald Trump has decided now to pardon these two. At the time that all of this started, Casada was no longer speaker. Again, he was forced to step down. He was still in the State House, and he was accused at the time of trying to pressure his colleagues of getting work done for this company that he was involved in. Then he got kickbacks. And so people started asking questions. And so they went to the current speaker, Cameron Sexton, who did his own investigation, and then Cameron Sexton did indeed call the authorities.
Smith shared how she also used her influence as a committee chair and sitting lawmaker to speed up getting paid by the state. She said, quote, I had inside access. I made sure she, as in Connie Ridley, who handled state contracts, remembered I was a chairman.
All right, so as I said, and again, that's reporting from Channel 5 at the time. Smith ends up cooperating with the authorities and testified against the other two. She ended up pleading guilty to wire fraud. And by the way, there's no word. Her lawyer, Robin Smith's lawyer, is trying to get her a pardon as well. So far, we don't know if she's received a pardon. She is sentenced to 8 months in prison. They had a 4-week trial, and they were convicted of more than a dozen public corruption charges. Here's more that was discovered again, and I can't say this enough. This was what they discovered at the jury trial.
We also got a better idea of how the trio split their profits. Smith showed emails she received from Cothren showing how Cothren would receive 30% of the profits on the mailers. Casada and Smith would each receive 25%, and 20% would remain in the company. At the time of that email, April 2020, Phoenix Solutions had made about $16,000. The defense has long contended all of this money was honestly made and shouldn't be considered a kickback. And then there was this bombshell. We've told you a lot about how Cade Cothren used a fake identity, Matthew Phoenix, in this scheme. Well, we now know of a second fake name that was used, Candace McKay. She was supposed to be an accountant, and that email account was run by a former girlfriend of Cade Cothren's. The jury also heard a recorded phone call between West Tennessee lawmaker Ron Gant and Robin Smith, in which Smith gave more elaborate fake details about this company to him and lied about many of the actual details.
So there you go. A judge, by the way, if you think, oh, this was a Biden judge. No. A judge named Eli Richardson presided over the case, and he is a Trump nominee and obviously later confirmed. Now, they were due to report to prison in just days. Cade Cothren was supposed to report to prison November 17th. That was going to be a 2.5-year term. Glenn Casada on the 21st, right before Thanksgiving, he was looking at a 3-year term. Casada, by the way, just to get all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, Casada also had to pay a $30,000 fine, repay $4,600. Cade Cothren had to pay a $25,000 fine and to repay the money he earned through that bogus consulting firm. So apparently, President Trump called Glenn Casada personally, and the White House said that Biden's DOJ was basically out of control and that these two, maybe these three, they were overcharged. That's what people are saying within, the contingency that believed that they should have been pardoned. I desperately want to know, because I don't think President Trump did the right thing here. I just don't. They were indicted with a grand jury. They were found guilty by a jury of their peers. And I remember, as somebody brought this up on the super text line, that Glenn Casada, I'd forgotten about this. I mean, clearly I don't have the audio anymore, but Glenn Casada was on with Phil Valentine, and Casada had lied to Phil about all of these things. And when the truth started to spill out, I mean, I remember it was a very heated conversation between Uncle Phil and Glenn Casada. So Trump, apparently somebody in Tennessee got this case in front of Donald Trump, and Trump decided that it would be a good thing to pardon these two. And I'm just going to tell you that I, as a guy who voted for Donald Trump, I'm always defending Donald Trump. I can't defend this. I don't understand. I want to know who brought this in front of the president, because I don't believe that the president knew all the details on this. So, I mean, when we have the Daily Dan poll up, and good majority of the people disagreed with President Trump on this, on these pardons. What is it now?
Yeah, still holding steady at 78% of people disagreeing.
Yeah,
that was the move.
All right, 6:17 now. Time to check the roads on WTN. All right, very good. It is 6:17 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The people over at Tennessee Stands, I thought this was interesting. The people over at Tennessee Stands, they posted this last night on X, just staying with this Glenn Casada, Casada+Cothren thing. Here's what they posted. Breaking. Glenn Casada and Casada+Cothren pardoned by President Trump. Then they said this. The general public, unfortunately, has no idea how involved, and they tagged Cameron Sexton, at Cameron Sexton 25, whatever, was in all of this as a ploy to secure his role as Speaker. Tennessee Stands goes on to say you cannot fathom how corrupt and morally bankrupt these people really are. So I read that, and basically what they're saying is that Cameron Sexton turned in Glenn Casada to the feds so that Sexton could ultimately move into the Speaker's chair. And I was tagged in this by somebody, I don't know who, but I got tagged in it. So here's the truth. And I'm trying to get the Speaker of the House in. But I told Tennessee Stands, your timeline is wrong, which it is. Cameron Sexton became Speaker after Casada had to step down due to Casada's texting scandal in 2019. In early 2021, Sexton then discovered the Phoenix Solutions scandal after receiving internal complaints and went to authorities then. And if he didn't go to authorities, if Cameron Sexton didn't go to the authorities, he could be complicit as well. I mean, Sexton was even, going to testify because I think they were compelling him to testify, Cameron Sexton. So to say that Sexton was involved to secure his role as Speaker is not only incorrect, I believe it's defamatory. This bogus company, Phoenix Solutions, didn't even begin operations until after Sexton became the Speaker. And look, it's not my job to stand up for Cameron Sexton or Jack Johnson or anybody in the state legislature. They're certainly able to do that themselves, but for the people at Tennessee Stands, and I know that I'm going to get blasted for this, but the people at Tennessee, unless I'm mistaken, and I very well could be, but to say that Sexton did this, dropped the dime on Casada so that he could rise to the speakership. Sexton was already the speaker because Casada was forced to step down because of the texting scandal.
It all still pales in comparison. This is like the first gaffe. People wanted to get on to Trump about the January 6th pardons because some of those people went on to commit other crimes. January 6th, as we know it, was a bit of a trap by the Capitol Police at that event. But if we look at the previous administration, Anthony Fauci, January 6th committee, Biden family members.
Well, and here's the thing, just staying on this. You are going to have a couple of, here's what I'm going to say. Just because somebody's got an R next to their name doesn't mean that they're innocent. Republicans do bad stuff too, folks. And so you're going to have two sides to this. Some Republicans are going to say, well, this is great. Because, it was Biden's DOJ, and everything they might have done against Republicans had to be corrupt, right? Biden's DOJ, always going after Republicans. Okay. But Republicans in the state legislature might have a different feeling about all of this. So, again, my feeling is, and I'm not here to go after Tennessee Stands. That's not my deal, and that's not my vibe. I'm also not here to defend anyone. I'm just calling this as I see it. But I don't believe that somebody is innocent just because they have an R next to their name. As a matter of fact, if you're a Republican and you see somebody either doing something nefarious or you see the evidence and you believe that they are guilty of doing nefarious things and you believe that they're innocent just because they have an R next to their name, no. Republicans are all about accountability. Oh, and by the way, two things can be true.
Yes,
Joe Biden.
I was waiting for you to get to the two things to be true at once part.
Two things can be true. Joe Biden certainly had a corrupt DOJ, and Casada+Cothren and Glenn Casada were found guilty by a jury of their peers, and they were indicted by a grand jury as well. And the judge was a Trump appointee. And so my feeling is, look, if these guys were indicted by that grand jury, found guilty by a jury of their peers, then they should do their time. Again, not to belabor the point, I know that it was Biden's DOJ, but you literally had lawmakers complaining about what these guys were doing. So I don't know.
When you weaponize the DOJ, you open up the door for people making pardons that shouldn't happen.
And I don't know. I don't think that they should have been pardoned. And I can say that as a guy that is a fan of Donald Trump. I've been a defender of Donald Trump. I can't defend this one. I just can't. So anyway, whatever.
Who's your guess on who brought it to him?
That's what I want to know. Joan and I were talking about this. The first thing we said to each other, who brought this to Donald Trump? And because somebody within the Trump administration basically rubber stamped this through.
Somebody
that's
had to
my
go
opinion.
to him and put this idea in his head. It didn't come to. Who knows who he knows? But do you really think he knows Casada+Cothren or
no
Casada? No,
no.
So somebody put this in his head.
What's your guess?
I'm wondering why. And so Dan and I, the first person we talked about was Andy Ogles.
That's where I was going.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I don't know why that occurred to me. Dan, maybe you can speak to it.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why that name came up, but I know that it wouldn't be Scott Desjardins. I don't know if it's Andy Ogles or not, but I know that it wouldn't be Scott Desjardins.
It wouldn't be Marsha Blackburn.
It wouldn't be either of the senators. And it sure as heck wouldn't be John Rose. So I'm just curious as to who brought. You know what? I'm gonna do some digging.
Mm-hmm.
Some Dan digging.
Who are the names? Who do local muckety mucks believe may have put this in front of Donald Trump's team? Because you think Donald Trump got through all this detail that I just went through? No, absolutely not.
No, and here's another thing I'm wondering. It's been so obvious that Susie Wiles has been able to corral President Trump, like keep him in his lane. Why is this going wrong? Like that certainly is a decision that I just can't believe that she thought was a good idea or didn't counsel him on. It's troubling that he made that decision, and it just doesn't seem like it's a one that his handlers from early on in this administration, the current administration, would have said, yeah, go ahead and do that. That's a good idea.
All right. And by the way, 4702 says there is a newspaper article that names it. Oh, by the way, so now we've got 4858 that says this morning show has absolutely gone to garbage.
Oh, well.
See, I knew. What did I say? What did I say when I started this?
Yeah.
I said you're going to have some Republicans that are going to be bashing me because they think that I'm going against the Republican Party. No, I think that conservatives and Republicans need to hold people accountable. And to me, Casada+Cothren has nothing to do with the whole texting scandal. Has nothing to do with that. To me, looking at the evidence and living through all this stuff, it just seems to me like this was a pardon that should not have happened. 626. Joan, what's coming up in the news?
Dan, so we're getting you ready for some severe weather for today, and also something that Americans have turned to for hundreds of years is about to disappear. Those stories at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, 626, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super text line is open, certainly, and boy, people are responding. Well, you know what the thing is, Joan? I just can't help but piss people off this week. And I'm usually not a host that pisses off a lot of people, but I don't care.
Well, listen.
I'm not going to start singing "Let It Go."
Thank you.
I'm still listen. I'm maybe the problem is I had that hairy fig yesterday, courtesy of Joan Jones.
It wasn't a hairy fig.
It was a hairy fig.
It was, and I think there was a piece of hair on it. Like maybe when I gave it to you, a piece of my hair fell out.
Yeah, whatever. It was a hairy fig. I got to go. 627, Nashville's Morning News. Mark Spain Real Estate. Sell your home with Mark Spain Real Estate and get the strongest cash offer in the industry. You'll save time, make the most money, and eliminate all that hassle. Dan Mandiceriano, Mark Spain Real Estate, they are the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America. They've got over 13,000 five-star reviews. You can trust my friends to sell your home fast and, yes, for maximum profit. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate has been helping homeowners sell their homes for nearly 30 years, and they've served over 72,000 satisfied clients. Find them online at ismarkspain.com. Call them 855-299-SOLD. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Good morning, now 6:32. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It's eyes to the sky this afternoon, people. Stefano tells us some of the storms that are headed our way could be severe.
As we head through the afternoon, even in the mid-afternoon, there could be a couple of isolated thunderstorms that fire up, but we're really looking toward the end of our day today, toward the evening commute and dinner time for a few more showers and thunderstorms and that increased threat for strong to severe thunderstorms as well.
And he says expect heavy rain, lightning, perhaps hail, and a very slight chance of a tornado. We'll keep you on top of this throughout the day. A troubling story about fake ICE agents. The FBI has sent out a bulletin warning about it.
The FBI has tracked one case here in New York. A group of people wearing all black vests claimed to be immigration officers, then robbed an ATM at a restaurant, tying a victim's hands together, placing a garbage bag over a victim's head. There was another incident where someone, this was back in April, impersonated an ICE agent and threatened immigrants.
ABC's Aaron Katursky there. The bulletin cites 5 incidents so far this year. And some sad news. We're learning an American staple is going by the wayside.
For 208 years, the Farmer's Almanac has been known for long-term weather predictions, moon phases, fishing and gardening guides, and folk wisdom. But after what the publication calls the increasing financial challenges of producing and distributing the almanac in today's media environment, the Farmer's Almanac 2026 edition will be its last. In a statement to ABC News, editor Sandy Duncan said the publication will live on in the way that millions of readers share the bits of wit and wisdom they gleaned from the almanac. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Man, that is sad. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 634, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here with a great way to increase the value of your home. How about a bathroom upgrade from Zintex, a great company that has a great deal just for listeners to my show. Now, how about converting your bathtub into a walk-in shower? They can do that, and for listeners to my show, you can get $999 off or 0% interest for 2 years, whatever works best for you. Now, Zintex has won awards for ethics from the Better Business Bureau, and last year they were voted one of the best places to work in the construction industry. Happy employees mean great customer service. That's what you're going to get from Zintex. Now, remember that great deal. You can get $999 off or 0% interest for 2 years, whatever works best for you. And you mentioned WTN, you get a free Kohler toilet with your purchase. Find them online. It is Zintex.com, Zintex, Zintex.com. That's Zintex.com. Dan Mandis here for DT McCall's. Listen, this is a great Tennessee company. They are here for their fellow Tennesseans with great prices, great selection, outstanding value. I've been telling you for years about these folks at DT McCall's. They've been helping people out for, count them, 4 generations. And if you need it, they've got it at DT McCall's. Indoor furniture, appliances, all. They've got great deals. Just go to their website. It's dtmccalls.com. Right there on the front page of their website, anytime, not just for a holiday, but anytime at their website, front page. It goes on forever, by the way. They've got specials and great prices on all the best brands of appliances like washer and dryer sets, dishwashers, and a whole lot more. And don't forget, they've also got stuff for your garage and your kitchen, appliances, you name it. They've got it at DT McCall's. And if you buy it, they're going to deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. You got 5 locations all across Middle Tennessee: Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com.
Okay, so we have a crash on 24 westbound. This is in Clarksville, just before Rossview Road. The left lane is blocked off by Hermitage 40 westbound before Old Hickory Boulevard East. That's a crash that takes out the right lane as well. Out at the airport, Donaldson Pike at I-40, there's a crash, Talbot's Corner, Hart Lane at Ellington Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.638 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open. Very active this morning. Thank you. 615-737-9986. 615-737 WWTN. Real quickly, Joan and Sam, I want to just throughout the morning today, because the Democrats refuse, in fact, this is a headline on CNN right now, Democrats expected to block GOP push to reopen the government.
Yeah, there's a big push on right now. There's supposed to be some bipartisan negotiations happening.
And
nothing's happening.
They're not happening. Remember, we're talking about that just real quickly, if I can finish a thought, because I'm a little scattered this morning. But airport delays out of BNA. I think we need to keep track of that.
I was just going to tell you about that. I'm seeing on Flight View that both departures and arrivals are 86% on time. So, yeah, there are some late flights, but I think you kind of run into that every day. This doesn't appear to be anything so far that is causing like a huge mess at BNA. So, of course, and you do it anyway when you're traveling and you've got a flight coming up, you're always checking to make sure that the flight's on time. Keep doing that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I think that there's a lot of concern about the flights, especially this weekend. And it's like what I said yesterday. I feel like this is Russian roulette. I feel like the Democrats are playing Russian roulette with American lives. And so this, at least to me, this is beyond the pale. I mean, people could, you know how the Democrats are always saying, oh, people are going to die. I am literally saying, because it could happen, people are going to die.
Yes.
And it'll be the Democrats' fault.
So when the FAA issued this reduction in flights, they said 10%, right? So that 10% doesn't start out 10% right away. We're at 4% today. It's going to tick up through the week and through the weekend and then through the week, and it'll become 10%. So right now it's only 4%.
Right.
But that means that you can expect things are going to get worse. So right now, fly now. Fly now, and then
you fly now.
Yeah.
And then hopefully you get back home.
Yeah.
But have an alternate plan to get home, like maybe, for example,
rent a car.
And
drive long distance. Turn on the tunes.
So I guess the people that said that after Mamdani was elected as mayor of New York, the people that were saying they're going to come back now, the Democrats going to come back now that the elections are over, that they'll come back and negotiate faithfully with Donald Trump, and in good faith. That's clearly not happening.
Right.
Because they are, and we read that letter yesterday. Sam, do you have that letter just real quick? Can you look up that letter where you had Hakeem Jeffries, and then I'm going to get on to some other stuff, but you had Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, and they sent a letter basically demanding that Trump negotiate with them, which is fine. I actually have no problem with this. But it was how they worded the letter that it was clear that they have no interest in having, in good faith negotiations with Donald Trump, because the tone of this letter, they know exactly how, not even Donald Trump, they know how anyone would react to a letter worded in this way.
Dear President Trump, we write to demand a bipartisan meeting of legislative leaders to end the GOP shutdown of the federal government and decisively address the Republican health care crisis. Democrats stand ready to meet with you face-to-face anytime and any place. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
I mean, just, you know what? Very, just confrontational. is the word.
I feel like they were laughing at each other as they wrote it.
Oh, yeah. We're going to own the president, and then we're going to release this to everybody, right?
Yeah.
So the Democrats don't really want a solution. You know what's stunning to me? What is stunning to me is that the Democrats actually think that they have a winning hand here. That's what is surprising. I know earlier this week they won all those elections. I know, and I understand that. But I don't think that they've got a winning hand here. But Democrats probably do believe that they've got a winning hand here. Whatever. But I think that the longer that this goes, the worse it's going to be for the Democrats. I mean, listen, the headline on CNN, Dems set to block GOP push to end the shutdown without health care fix. So, in other words, you could have stopped at the first, 6, 7 words. Dems set to block GOP push to end the shutdown. So that sentence, look at the construction of the sentence. The GOP wants to end the shutdown, and the Democrats are blocking it. This is going on, I guess, right now, Joan was saying. So, yeah. Again, playing Russian roulette with American lives. This is what the Democrats are doing. And it is absolutely disgusting. Now, speaking of absolutely disgusting, Joan, you remember that guy that was shooting up Nashville yesterday?
Yeah, I do.
Was that yesterday or the day before?
It was the day before, but yeah.
Need some video here. There's a guy who, and I don't know if we talked about this on the air or off the air, but turns out now the guy that was shooting up Nashville day before yesterday, and we talked about it here on Nashville's Morning News yesterday. Well, it turns out it looks like he was an illegal alien. Shocking, says no one. This is
I was trying to find that information. I knew it.
Yeah, this is Fox 17. Hope Salman.
Metro Police say this all started right here in the Plaza Mariachi parking lot. They say that suspect drove through firing the rifle, and that sparked a manhunt that lasted more than an hour. When Metro Police say 24-year-old Marcos Palacios Amaya walked into Plaza Mariachi grocery store Wednesday morning with an AR-15.
Can't imagine why we would have thought that he was an illegal alien.
Yeah.
You know what he said?
I can't even imagine.
He said, well, yeah, I was just firing the gun.
To scare
people. Yeah.
Investigators say Palacios Amaya admitted to firing shots at several locations in South Nashville to scare people. He also claimed to have shot at locations in Laverne early in the morning. Police ended chasing Palacios Amaya through South Nashville before using a spike strip near Bell Road and Stewart's Ferry Pike. Fox 17 News did some digging and found he's on probation for felony theft in Rutherford County. He also has theft and auto burglary convictions in Williamson County.
There you go. So now apparently he's got an ice hold. Can I ask a question? So when Afton Bain...
This is great. We've got our girl squad and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is a win.
when Afton Bain and her girl squad are running around trying to bully and impede ICE from doing their jobs, you know what they're doing, right, folks? I want to make sure you understand. What they're doing is they are trying to protect dirtbags like this because dirtbags like this are who ICE is trying to arrest. I hope to God that people know this. I know that you people do because you listen to WTN and you understand these things. But this is why that election for the 7th, man, I'm telling you what, this is so important.
This is great. We've got our girl squad and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is a win.
Wait, can I ask a question? What if this dude had shot and killed somebody? What if he had shot and killed somebody? Again, this is the kind of person ICE is trying to arrest. Got a little bit more on this straight ahead. 6:45, time to check the roads on WTN. All right, very good. 6:46, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So I know you were reporting this earlier as well, Joan.
What's that?
Yesterday, we talked about how the Nashville Homeland Security Task Force arrested a bunch of bad guys.
Yeah, 35 or 38.
38.
Yeah.
We find out they busted 38 people, including 8 members and associates of MS-13. Charges include trafficking of fentanyl, meth, cocaine, carjacking, assault on law enforcement, and immigration offenses as well. And, you know, I will just remind people like Afton Bain how incredibly important law enforcement actually is.
This is great. We've got our girl squad, and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers.
Sure.
So this is a win.
Sure. In United States versus Tolliver, 12 defendants were charged with trafficking in fentanyl sourced from outside the United States, as well as multiple federal firearms charges. This was out in Crossville, where they've experienced a spike in the number of overdose deaths linked to fentanyl. Some of those overdoses are alleged to be connected to the trafficking activities of these defendants. The lead agents were the FBI, the TBI, and the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, with assistance from HSI, the Putnam County Sheriff's Office, and the Tennessee Highway Patrol. So there you have it. So, and I love that they're doing this. I mean, they're opening up that. What is the office called, Joan? Do you have that in front of you?
I do. It is called the new office for
Homeland Security. Nashville Homeland Security Task Force.
So that's one. So this is different. There's also the task force that was set up yesterday, the task force call line that was set up yesterday to help find undocumented children.
Oh, how dare they?
Yeah.
You know what?
Well, they want to find the undocumented children to send them back home. And, you know, there's a little freak out happening over that. But these kids were taken and given to sponsors who had no familial relation to these children.
Sometimes they were actually like
back and forth. Here's what they do. They take these kids and they would send them across the border, because if you had kids, you were kind of ushered right in.
Yes.
And so then they would ship these kids, back to, let's just say, Guatemala or Honduras.
Yes.
And they would recycle the kid back and forth. They'd give them a new ID in Honduras, and then they would traffic these same people, use these same kids over and over again. And now they're here and the drug cartels, by the way, were behind this sometimes. And so the Trump administration is now trying to find these kids and get them back with their parents, who might be somewhere in America. You never know with Joe Biden, or they might be back in Honduras.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows.
Not that long ago, the task force out in Memphis found missing children, 88 missing kids in Memphis, the Memphis Safe Task Force. So, there were 88 children that were recovered. Now, not all of them are going to be undocumented children, but there were 88 kids found. We should be celebrating that. And instead, these people are losing their minds over ICE being in their cities.
Yeah, Afton Bain, she is bullying ICE. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to go ahead and put all of these different agencies under the umbrella of law enforcement. So I would say to Afton Bain, if you're bullying ICE, you are bullying the Border Patrol, you're bullying the Tennessee Highway Patrol, you're bullying TBI, you're bullying all of these law enforcement agencies who are simply trying to find, number one, missing children, number two, MS-13 gang members, number three, drug manufacturers and drug runners who are killing people, number four, you're trying to protect, gang members, et cetera. That's what Afton Bain stands for. And to me, I believe that this should be one of the biggest issues that people in the 7th Congressional District vote on. You've got the military in the 7th Congressional District up there with Fort Campbell. And so if I wasn't in the military, but if I'm in the military and I see somebody going after and trying to bully law enforcement while preening for the camera, that's a person that does not deserve to represent the 7th Congressional District.
Some of these kids were placed in homes, not necessarily the sponsor themselves, but some were placed in homes with sex offenders.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere between 300,000 and 400,000 kids were unaccompanied coming into this country during the Biden administration.
Yep.
And that, in my mind, personally, that should be priority one when they do these raids is finding those kids first. Then let's get to the people that we need to kick out of the country.
And so what does that say about Afton Bain? Because I want to bring it back to...
Well, she wants to kill kids in the first place. She
sure.
Filed that lawsuit about being able to have abortions out of state.
Yeah, that's part of Afton Bain's claim to fame. So, to me, I think that her bullying of law enforcement, it says a heck of a lot more about Afton Bain than it does about
I wouldn't even call
law enforcement.
I wouldn't even call it bullying. She just virtue says, like, you think the ICE agent's like, oh my God, Afton Bain? Oh.
No. But remember what she was doing in a bigger context. You have ICE agents and Border Patrol who are constantly being doxxed and under attack. So when she was running out and bullying the ICE agents, and remember the other thing that she did was she was on, I guess it was either Instagram or TikTok, and she's essentially streaming where they are, putting them at risk.
Yeah.
So
and putting the civilians at risk. They've said it time and time again. If these Democrat cities would arrest the people they know to be here unlawfully and put them in the jail, then ICE just has to go to the jail and nobody in the general public gets involved.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Common sense goes out the door.
Matt Van Epps for the 7th. All right. Let's see here. Joan Jones, what is coming up at 7 o'clock?
Yes, thunderstorms arriving later on today, and we'll take a look at how severe they might be with Stefano. Also, we will take a look at some new restrictions that take effect in America's airspace today and how that may be affecting flights at BNA. That's all next at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here, 6:54. I love the Glock store. It's my 2A store, the Glock store, because they're always looking for ways to help you out with great deals, and they've got them coming up on Black Friday. That's right, the day after Thanksgiving. Everybody knows that Black Friday is a great time for deals, and the Glock store is going to have a massive 2A themed party with a ton of great deals and food trucks and some live music and a ton of giveaways as well. That's right. So the Glock store, they're famous for those giveaways, and expect more on Black Friday. We all talked about Vortex Day a couple of weeks ago. The Glock store gave away over $10,000 worth of merchandise. It was huge. And this one on Black Friday is going to be even huger. It's going to be even better.
Huger?
Is that a word?
Well, maybe it is
Huger?
now, Dan.
Put a hashtag on it.
Okay.
You can call it a celebration, and I'm going to call it a can't miss event over at the Glock store. You can pick up gifts for the 2A enthusiast in your life, or, stuff for yourself. Now that is the Black Friday celebration at the one and only Glock store, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere, especially on Black Friday. Details as they come together, glockstore.com, shoot270.com. 6:58, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Truth and memes. I'm going to go ahead and post this here in a minute. Gerrymandering. Massachusetts. 36% of the state of Massachusetts, they say, are Republicans. 0 seats. Connecticut, House of Representatives. Connecticut, 42% Republican. 0 seats. Maine, 46% Republican, 0 seats. I think you get where I'm going here. New Hampshire, 48% Republican, 0 seats. Rhode Island, 42% Republican, 0 seats. Vermont, 32% Republican, no seats, and on it goes. The bottom of it, it says, it's only bad when Republicans do it. Because that's what the left has been freaking out about. You know what's going on in California with Prop 50. So I think the meme is absolutely right. Democrats, and even Jake Tapper and CNN called them out. Remember, we played that audio a while back where they talk about the fact that, yes, Democrats are professionals at gerrymandering. They've been doing it for years. And frankly, at least for me, I think it's great that the Republicans are finally catching up because guess what? We are in the middle of a political war in this country, and it does continue. 7 o'clock on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, now 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're going to start out today with a decent weather-wise.
So here's a look at your first alert forecast for today. Cloud cover increasing quickly this morning. We'll keep those clouds through the afternoon, end up around 70.
Yeah, but Stefano says that thunderstorms will get rolling later this afternoon and then into tonight as well. Severe weather threat level is a 2 out of 5 for today. Nashville has a Homeland Security task force. Now, it was formally announced yesterday, but it's already been operating for months. Since March, that task force that involves federal agencies and local police has indicted 38 violent criminals, some of them MS-13 gang members. Metro Police Chief John Drake.
You've heard me say before that our police department works closely with our federal partners to identify and prosecute violent criminals who are posing a real threat to Nashvillians and our city's neighborhoods. The investigation we're speaking about today has done just that, and Nashville is safer because of it.
He also says one operation led to the dismantling of a fentanyl pipeline that was funneling drugs into Tennessee. New restrictions take effect in America's airspace today. That means hundreds of flight cancellations.
This morning, flight reductions at 40 major airports are beginning to take effect. The FAA has ordered airlines to reduce flights at so-called high-impact airports by 4% this morning. That will gradually increase to 10% of flights by next Friday. Airlines not following the rules will be hit with a $75,000 fine per flight over the limit.
ABC's Nicole D'Antonio there. The restrictions are being put in place over concerns about safety, of course. Air traffic controllers who are now working 6 days a week. They have not been paid since the start of the government shutdown. They've been calling out sick in order to pick up work in other areas. FlightView says right now departures and arrivals at BNA are on time 86% of the time. And airborne delays are 15 minutes or less. We'll keep on top of that. Reports are saying that Senate Republicans are taking a new approach to ending the government shutdown. The GOP plans a vote for today, advancing the clean continuing resolution once again with a goal of amending it now to extend the government funding beyond November 21st. You'll remember that's the date that's on this current CR. There's also the one catch that will hopefully entice Democrats here. This one also includes an appropriations bills and a promise as well to hold a vote that would extend health care subsidies. Now, House Speaker Mike Johnson continues to say that he won't commit to a vote on the subsidies in the lower chamber. We'll see how this goes later on today. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. Heavy losses on the stock market yesterday, and futures this morning say it looks like it could go even lower. The Dow futures are minus 171 right now. The NASDAQ futures down 177. S&P futures, they're minus 34. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, watch it in Laurel Hill this morning. 24, the westbound lanes are backed up at exit 59 for Bell Road. Got a crash. It's on the right shoulder, which is blocked off there. Looks like it's a little bit slow, too, as you round the joinder there with 40. And 40 in the westbound lanes also very slow from the airport area all the way into Nashville. Looking pretty good, though, if you're traveling in on 24 or 65 from the north. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.06 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, I see some breaking news on CNN.
Which is?
Judge orders Trump administration to restart SNAP benefits.
And so here's the thing. The Trump administration said that they would start partial payments.
Partial payments.
Because that's all the money that's in that fund, the rainy day fund, whatever.
Yeah.
But now this judge is saying that he's got to fully restart SNAP payments.
We got to find the money from somewhere. And
but so they're appealing. The Trump
so
administration
the Trump administration is appealing.
Yeah. This is another one of those things that'll go all the way up the chain to the Supreme Court again for an emergency consideration.
Yeah.
Just to haul off these federal judges.
Part of me, you know what the thing is though? Part of me wonder, and just go with me here.
Yeah.
So President Trump is being accused of, all kinds of nefarious things, trying to keep the government closed and taking away people's SNAP benefits and all of that. Just from the power of politics and the chess match that is politics, maybe Trump should just go ahead and fund the SNAP benefits for a month. And that way, it's like, all right, Democrats, listen, I'm funding as a show of good faith. I'm going to go ahead and find the money. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fund the SNAP benefits in its entirety. And if Democrats will just simply reopen the government and Trump do it on his own so that it doesn't sound like a judge made him do it. And then that sort of pushes the Democrats to try to reopen the government or to force the Democrats to vote to reopen the government. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that this is a part of this is a narrative battle.
I think there's an opportunity for Eric and Don Jr. to make a donation to that fund that then people would have to thank Trump's sons.
Yeah, the Trump sons. Well, how much do we pay? I know I've talked about this before. How much do we pay in SNAP benefits across the country? Like, I mean, it's adding all the states and so forth. I mean, I think it's billions of dollars. I think it is. So, I don't know. We already, a donor of Trump, who I forget who the name is, but already paid for the military for a month. So the military is getting a check. You have that, Joan?
The total federal spending on SNAP benefits?
Yeah.
$100 billion.
$100 billion. Okay. That's a lot of money. I don't think Trump wants to spend that kind of money.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that there might be an opportunity here for the president to say, I don't need a judge I'm thinking of messaging here. Because remember, the messaging of the Republicans hasn't been great. I'm just going to tell you. So maybe the messaging is, you know what? I don't need a judge to do this. I'm going to go ahead and, we're going to find the money and we're going to find a way to get this done. But I need the Democrats to come to the table. From a PR, if you will, from a PR standpoint, maybe that's what the president does. I don't know how they're going to be able to figure this out. If I remember correctly, the Trump administration had basically said without the government being open, there's no way to actually get the money to the states. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how this whole thing works out.
I would love for him to do that, to get the SNAP payments made.
Right.
And then hold a press conference. You know how the press will chisel around everything he says to not include the things that, mean something. Then have him approach the podium and say, just SNAP benefits are paid. Democrats open the government. Walk away from the podium because that's the only thing that the press can put out there.
Right. That's right. So I don't know. I think the government shut down. I think that what day are we in now? Are we at we had the whole thing yesterday.
Let's go see here, Dan. It's been
I think
31
we're at 38 days
in October.
Yesterday was 37 days.
Correct.
Even though Joan said it was 36.
I did.
I'm just kidding. You know what's funny, Joan? Real quick.
Yeah.
If people know what happened yesterday, I actually went back and watched that segment.
I know.
And I was like, holy darn, she was absolutely right. But then you went along with me and Sam.
Yeah, I gave in.
Yeah, I think it was Darth Vader that said, weak-minded fool.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, Joan. I'm totally kidding.
I just thought that if both of you thought the same way, that maybe I'm wrong.
So
never do that again.
Now the question is, as we deal with, day 38 of the shutdown, there's a number of things that are going on. Number one, we did have the elections earlier this week. And, the more that I think about this, the more I do, and I think I said this yesterday, I really do see this as an opportunity. As an opportunity for the Democrats, I should say the Republicans, as an opportunity for the Republicans to really define the fight for the next year heading into the midterm elections. Because even if Donald Trump, and I'm just going to tell you, and I'm pretty sure I've been consistent with all of this, there's things that are still too high at the grocery store. Prices are still too high. They're not where Joe Biden was. That is a victory. But Trump, what he needs to do is have that incredible Donald Trump focus on trying to lower prices for the American people. Because here's the thing. Donald Trump can say until he's blue in the face that prices are lower. But if the perception from the American people is that prices are still too high, then he's got some work to do, regardless as to what Donald Trump says. And so I love what Scott Jennings had to say. I need some video here. I love what Scott Jennings said on CNN, where he says that the GOP, a number of things, needs to do better at turning out voters, which is absolute truth. But what he also says is, affordability is an issue.
Well, first of all, I think J.D. Vance is exactly right. They do have to talk about cost of living. They do have to talk about affordability. And he's right that voters will ultimately judge the party in power, the incumbent party, based on the health of the economy, macro and micro. People have to feel like you're on the right trajectory. So I think he's right about that. I think he's right that Republicans are better off to dump the infighting and focus on issues and what we need to do to succeed. And he's certainly correct about this turnout issue. We still have an unproven situation out there about a lot of people who love Donald Trump but don't yet love to turn out when he's not on the ballot. So all these things are correct, and I agree with him. It's, you don't want to run around like chickens with your head cut off when something bad happens, but at the same time, you do want to learn from situations, and I think there's probably some things to be learned last night about candidate quality and the way we're running campaigns in certain places. But we have to remember, these are blue states, very blue states. Democrats won in blue states, and so overreacting and being overly emotional is probably not a great thing today.
Yeah, and Scott Jennings is absolutely right. I played audio yesterday. I don't have it handy, but I played audio yesterday where Trump was saying, things are going great with the economy and we don't do enough to talk about it. And I think that there's a lot of people that feel like the president might be trying to gaslight them. I'm just being honest. Remember, you always got to read the tea leaves. You know what I'm talking about? You always got to read what is going on. And, whenever I have or had failures in my past. And this week with the election, even though they were blue states, as I said, and as Scott Jennings says, you use this as sort of, okay, this is an opportunity. They're telegraphing. The American people could be telegraphing where they think our country is. And if it's all going to hinge on affordability, then, friends, this is an opportunity for the president to hyper-focus not only on trying to lower the cost of stuff, but also to work on that messaging. Now, as I said the other day, my Lord, if people are complaining about the economy and where it is right now and the price of things, I totally get it. I absolutely get it. And I'm not dismissing what you're saying. But I'm going to keep saying until I'm blue in the face or red in the face because I'm a Republican or a conservative. listen, remember how bad it was under Joe Biden. And by the way, here's the other thing to remember, that with Joe Biden, there were things that Joe Biden literally did to cause inflation to go up. With all of that government spending, putting all of that money artificially into the economy. And that led to prices going up. That led to that rampant inflation up over 9%. So Joe Biden actually caused prices to go up. That is a big difference between what Donald Trump has been doing or trying to do, where he is trying to lower the cost of goods and services. There's work to do yet, as I've been saying, but this is an opportunity. It is 7:16. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather for today goes, it's going to be nice today. I mean, up until the storms come in.
Dinner time-ish.
Dinner time-ish. Clouds and sun, breezy in the morning, then a couple of showers and a thunderstorm in the afternoon. They say there could be damaging winds, hail, even an isolated tornado. But those, what are we at, a 2 out of 5 in some places, Joan?
2 out of 5.
All right. Then the rest of the weekend is going to be nice. Low 70s tomorrow, only reaching a high of 50
Yeah, it's going to get cold, right?
That's going to be nice to head off to church in a Christmassy kind of sweater. I think that'll be nice. So anyway.
Absolutely.
All right. I guess Joan doesn't want to talk about going to church.
You can come with me on Sunday, bud.
So, shut up, Joan. See, now I'm like, oh, why doesn't Dan want to go to church with Joan? It has nothing to do with anything other than your church, which I really like your church, Joan. Way too far away from my house.
Mm-hmm.
Way too. But I like Alan Jackson. I've talked about Pastor Alan Jackson. I want to get him on the podcast with me and Chris.
Oh,
that's what I really want to do. Yeah, I actually told. Do you know what I think? I think Chris, like many people in my life, I think he just yeses me.
Right.
Because I said I said 3-4 podcasts ago, I said, I want Pastor Alan Jackson. I'm a new fan of World Outreach Church and Pastor Alan Jackson. I'm a new fan, and I want to get him on our podcast and have just a great, wide-ranging conversation.
Okay, so I had him on last year when I was filling in for, I guess
That's
it was for
right.
you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So here's all you have to do. Go to church. This is how I got him. Go to church with me.
Yeah.
After the service is over, you just go down and talk to him, and he says, okay, yeah, sure. He's so easy.
Well, then explain to me why it is that Chris hasn't gotten him on for a podcast yet.
Well, it's Chris Hand.
I think Chris secretly hates me. Anyway, moving on. I'm just kidding. I absolutely adore Chris Hand. He's awesome. All right, moving right along. So speaking of Scott Jennings, because he was talking about the Republicans, and I've been talking about this for a while now, but they do need to focus on not only from a policy standpoint, but from a messaging standpoint on trying to lower costs for the American people. Now, one of the other things, just talking about the government shutdown, Obamacare, I know that we've all been talking, well, I think most of us have been talking about this. I don't listen to all the shows all the time, but we've all been talking about the shutdown, right? And it all ultimately comes back down to Obamacare and how bad Obamacare really is. Well, Jennings was on a panel over there again on CNN where they're actually trying to make the claim, believe it or not, they made the claim on CNN that Obamacare lowered the prices of health care for the American people. Now, y'all know that clearly is not true. It's like more gaslighting from Democrats. Listen.
I don't think anybody wins these things. And I actually think a year from now, it'll be, long in the past. People won't really be thinking about it. I mean, I don't really understand what I think they got into this mess because of pressure from the left. Chuck Schumer is having a meltdown because AOC is threatening to primary him. They don't really know how to get out of it. I mean, after all, Obamacare is a Democrat law. The subsidies are a Democrat idea, and the sunset was put in the law by Democrats. You want to make it into a Republican problem. This is a Democrat health care debacle that you want to throw onto someone else.
Thank you for admitting that we lowered costs of health care.
You're saying, whoa. You're saying Obamacare lowered health care costs in America?
I think we made it more affordable, and because of the subsidies.
I love this. Jennings is looking up at the stars. He's looking up saying, oh, my Lord, somebody get me off the gaslighting bus. I mean, because that's what they're trying to do. Do you know that I don't know if I've ever, Joan, have you ever met anyone who has had a positive experience with Obamacare? Like, I have not met one person that has had, and I know a lot, I used to know more people, but I still know some people, but nobody has ever said that they have had a positive experience with Obamacare. Not one.
I've even had a doctor, my husband's doctor.
Yep.
Quit the profession, retired because of Obamacare.
Retired because of Obamacare.
Yeah.
Do you know other? I think Scott Desjardins had a similar sort of. I seem to recall him because he's a doctor, and I seem to recall him saying somewhat the same thing, just where Obamacare made it really, really difficult to even practice medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the Democrats to sit here and say, "Oh, well, Obamacare lowered costs for everybody. Oh, and by the way, not even just conveniently." Not going down the road of one of the greatest political lies in the history of political lies. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. That also was a lie. So I think that the Republicans are on the right track on this, where I think that they need to keep pointing out, as Scott Jennings did, that Obamacare is, well, it's Obamacare. It was a Democrat thing. Republicans didn't vote for it. Republicans didn't want it. They never, and I said this till I'm blue in the face, and I said it during Trump's first administration, where you keep having, during Trump's first administration, right, repeal and replace, but they never brought forward a replacement. They just never did. I remember one time, and I lost my ever-loving mind right here on the air, Donald Trump said, next week you're going to see the replacement plan. Next week you're going to see it. Do you remember that, folks? He actually, and nothing ever came of that. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Why does he keep saying this? And so I've always said, if the Republicans can come up with a plan to fix Obamacare, to make it lower for folks, because that's what the problem is. And every time that I bring up Obamacare, the super text line goes crazy, or if I've got the phone lines open, the phone lines literally explode with people talking about the train wreckery that is Obamacare and how they ended up having to pay double, triple what they had to pay before Obamacare. Now, I do understand that some people that are, the absolute poorest among us, well, okay, then they essentially got it for free. Okay, fine. That's great for them, but what about the taxpayers? That's my problem.
It is lower.
Is this lightning proof?
It's
access. Honestly, you think health care in America is cheaper since Obamacare?
We have increased access to Americans, and the subsidies were supposed
cheaper.
to.
You said cheaper.
Oh, wow. So you heard what she said. We have increased. Let's just peel that back for a second. And I don't know who this woman is, but she said we have increased access to health care. And I think she said for Americans, whatever. But you know who you've increased access to? Illegal aliens. Do you know who you've increased access to? People that could get their asses out there and work. That is who you have increased access to. And who's paying the ultimate price? The American people who are now forced to pay this exorbitant amount of money for health care, so that you're ultimately paying for all of these other people that are either illegally in this country or, I'm going to air quote this, lawfully present, or people that could be out there trying to work. And by the way, all of this goes back to, there's the original subsidies within Obamacare. And by the way, here's a clue. If you need subsidies to run anything, then maybe you might want to take a second look at it. But the subsidies that the Republicans are trying to kill with Obamacare are the second set of subsidies that were put forward during COVID, which is long since gone. So as Bill Maher said, and I played you the audio earlier, it's a bait and switch from the Democrats. I'm all mad this morning now, Joan.
Sorry.
You know what? I don't like
Do you
when
need some coffee? Need a shot of liquor?
According to people on the super text line, I've already had way too much coffee today.
I see.
And that's fine. That's been a familiar comment from people on the super text line this week. I don't know why. I feel like I've just been doing everything that I always do, but people are saying for whatever reason I'm a wee bit more jacked up this week. I don't know why. Whatever. I promise you I'm not doing cocaine.
None of that Hunter Biden special.
None of that Hunter Biden. Maybe if I was on cocaine, would I actually do better at my job? I'm moving right along. 726, Joan, what you got?
Well, we'll take a look at what's happening at BNA this morning. Looks like things are starting to slow down a bit as the flights are being scaled back at the nation's airports, all because of the shutdown. We'll take a look at it coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here for Stoltz Co., a great Tennessee company. They do continue to grow and expand. You know, they build pole barns at Stoltz Co., and these pole barns, they can serve as a garage, an event space, an equestrian building, even barn dominiums. Yeah, you can live in these pole barns, and again, they're called barn dominiums. And these days, the barn dominiums from Stoltz Co., they are new and improved. Stoltz Co. is now offering you turnkey options, and that means that they can handle the design, the construction, and those amazing finishing touches. You turn the key, and you are home, thanks to Stoltz Co. And right now, they're offering storm shelters as well to keep you and your family safe. Now, your new pole barn from Stoltz Co., as you know, it can be used for anything you want. So if you've got some land that needs a building for whatever you want, call my friends at Stoltz Co. As always, tell them Dan told you to reach out at 615-622-5992. 615-622-5992. You can also find Stoltz Co. on their Instagram and Facebook pages to see examples of their incredible work around Middle Tennessee, and the website, STOLTZCO, stoltzco.com.
Good morning, now 7:32. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It is Friday, and it's a day that flights begin to be scaled back at the nation's airports because of the government shutdown and its effect on staffing shortages in air traffic control towers. Airlines will cancel 4% of their flights starting today and scale up. I'm Joan Jones. Let's with turn your off top that. Stories. It is Friday, and Hang it's a on day here that just 1 second. There we go. So, airlines will cancel 4% of their flights starting today, and they'll scale up to 10% by next Friday. News 2's Jaxie Pigeon is out at Nashville International Airport this morning.
According to FlightAware, more than 800 flights within, into, or out of the U.S. have been canceled so far. American Airlines says it will cancel about 200 of its roughly 6,000 departures starting today and lasting through this weekend. United Airlines says it plans to cancel less than 200 of its more than 5,000 flights each day through this weekend.
And we're starting to see more delays now at BNA. While 90% of flights are on time, we're now seeing 3% are late and 7% are, quote, very late. Former Tennessee House Speaker Glenn Casada and his former Chief of Staff Casada+Cothren have been pardoned by President Trump. The pair had recently been sentenced for public corruption convictions tied to a fake political consulting firm. News 2's Alicia Wemberly.
According to the Department of Justice, the two engaged in a money-making scheme while in office. They deceived their colleagues in the General Assembly to fund the company Phoenix Solutions, Cothren's political consulting business he established with Casada's help.
The announcement doesn't say if the president also pardoned former State Representative Robin Smith, who received an 8-month sentence. She cooperated with prosecutors and testified against Casada+Cothren. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather. Next, I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 734, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. We're supposed to get some dicey weather this afternoon, and every time this happens, I always think about my friends at the Generator Supercenter. You know, when the weather does get a little crazy here in Nashville, you know that you don't have to lose power. You know, right, that you can have a backup home standby generator that can keep your power on even when your neighborhood goes dark. Now, my friends at the Generator Supercenter, they can help you. They are the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. So if you need a backup home standby generator to keep your lights on and keep your power on, call them and tell them I told you to reach out. 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952. Get a free quote and get peace of mind when you have one installed. The Generator Supercenter does feature expert installation and 24-hour monitoring. They're not going to leave you in the dark. And yes, financing is available. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 615-879-1952, Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com.
Hey, we got a problem, folks. It's downtown this morning on 5th Avenue South and Lafayette Street. That's how you say it around here, right? Lafayette Street. Officers there blocking the intersection. Now, this is right where you'll find the bus station. Also, the homeless shelter is there. At least 15 police cruisers are on the scene, and they're blocking the intersection. There's crime scene tape out there. So it's a great place to avoid. Again, this morning, you're going to find a lot of cruisers out there at 5th Avenue and Lafayette Street. Be careful in that area. Try to avoid it. I'm going to try to find out what's happening in that area. There is a crash in Murfreesboro. This one's on 840 northbound before Jefferson Pike, and also in Madison on Gallatin Pike South at East Old Hickory Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.39 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan, you asked the proper pronunciation of Lafayette.
Lafayette, did I get it right?
It depends on who you ask.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it depends on how you ask.
I would say Lafayette, but I'm a northerner.
I've heard it so many different ways, and I've kind of given up on trying to make everybody happy with how I say stuff. Yeah. So, but whatever.
So I have to tell you that I know a little bit more now.
What's going on over there?
So they're saying that there was a shots fired call near that intersection. And so police responded. The officers have established a command at the scene. This is according to Fox 17. They are on the scene. And of course, as you know, that right in that area, you've got the bus stop. Yep. The homeless shelter is there.
It's not a great area.
It's not. And there's also a hotel. So
pretty sure it's probably a motel, but whatever.
Okay. Yeah, probably.
Moving right along.
Okay. So that's what's happening downtown there. And
so we have another person randomly firing bullets in Nashville? Because we just had this a couple of days ago.
Yeah, so I'm also looking at the map right now. 6th Avenue South is also a mess, along with the intersection there at 4th and Lafayette.
Yeah.
So, there's going to be difficulty getting anywhere in that area today.
You got to stay away from 4th and 5th right there around Lafayette. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah, the heavy police presence there. We don't know what is what the current situation is on the ground, but I'm going to keep on top of it. Okay. It looks like Fox 17 is down there, so I'll check in with them.
All right, and just so folks know, we had this conversation about the guy that shot up Nashville a couple of days ago. Earlier,
just with his gun hanging out the window of his car
in the broadcast. Yeah, he wanted to. He went down to Laverne, went into Nashville, and just shooting around and holding the gun out there just to scare people, is what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out the guy was an illegal alien. ICE now
just knew it.
Yeah, ICE has a hold on him. So do you think the local authorities will keep this guy while ICE, goes to pick him up, or are they going to let him out? Because that's what the local authorities will do.
I think you'll probably find Afton Bain there saying, "No, stay away."
Oh. Yeah, he's on probation for theft charges out of Rutherford and Wilson County. So I think that probation will be the detainer. Metro won't bother with it.
Here's the deal. Dude needs to be either brought up in charges or deported or whatever. But and I had some fun earlier talking about this. I'm not going to repeat the bit, but I mean, this is exactly the kind of person that the Democrats and people like Afton Bain are trying to protect. This is the kind of person. So when ICE and all the other authorities are trying to do whatever they can to clean up the streets and get illegal aliens like this guy out of our community, can you imagine if and I've said this 1,000 times and I'm going to move on, but can you imagine? So you've got ICE driving around Nashville and in Tennessee, and they're trying to pick up, bad guys like this, like the guy from the couple of days ago, and people like Afton Bain, you know, she was on her socials and she was, in her own words, bullying ICE. And basically she was telling people where ICE was on her socials, basically following them around. And there's no way to prove this, but what if somebody ends up getting killed, an innocent person ends up getting killed by one of these illegal aliens that Afton Bain and people of her ilk protected? That is a very real possibility. So all I'm saying is, and you're going to hear me say this a lot, is that there's a very important congressional race, the 7th congressional district, between Afton Bain and Matt Van Epps. And you just got to decide for yourselves. And I know most of us here are conservatives, so it's Matt Van Epps for most of us, I assume. But, I mean, if you're just listening for the first time and you're sort of, you know, a political independent, I would really encourage you to think about what kind of community you want.
Yeah.
Because Van Epps is trying to, and our conservative opinions are that we need to clean up the streets of Nashville, the streets of Memphis, and the streets of America from criminals, illegal aliens and illegal gang members and all that kind of stuff. And Afton Bain, she wants to protect and coddle those people. That's all I'm saying.
And instead of having a open discussion about it, her and Jasmine Crockett would rather have a private town hall, he said with air quotes.
When is that? Is that tonight?
Today. Well, no, it's not tonight because they assume that, during the work week, people are free from noon to 2:30.
Right.
To pay to be
it's
somewhere.
Between noon and 2:30? Did we ever figure out how much that thing is?
No, because you have to put your name. So they want all your information and how much you're going to donate before they'll give you, I guess, the information and a pass to be there. And it's only limited to like 200 people.
So Jasmine Crockett and Afton Bain are holding what they called was a town hall. We talked about this a couple of days ago. They're calling it a town hall, but it's really not a town hall. It's a
paid-for echo chamber.
It's a paid-for echo chamber, and you got about 200 people. They're going to have microphones, and they're going to stand up, and they're going to say, "Oh, we love you," and isn't Donald Trump a Nazi? And everybody's going to go, "Yay!" Because that's what they do.
And how do we trans the kids more? And what do we do about abortion in this state?
That's going to be the conversation, no doubt. Let's see here. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads. And as far as your weather goes, just very quickly, clouds and sun, breezy this morning, a couple of showers and a thunderstorm this afternoon. Talking about damaging winds, hail, maybe even an isolated tornado. But then the rest of the weekend should be nice, lower 70s on Saturday, only reaching a high of 50 on Sunday. That's going to be really nice. And by the way, don't forget about the police presence, large police presence at 4th and Lafayette. I think they've got the intersection blocked, and apparently there are some shots fired and that kind of thing. So you want to stay away from that area because traffic around 4th and Lafayette is really backed up.
Which is that's the correct way to pronounce that.
Lafayette?
Yeah.
Oh, people commenting that that's the right way to say it is Lafayette?
I'm just reminding our it's not Lafayette around here.
No, it's not Lafayette. It's Lafayette. All right. Donald Trump was this going to do a little fun with audio here because I haven't heard all of this audio, but Donald Trump is out there talking, and he's talking about Obamacare, and he's talking about the Democrats and how the Democrats want to keep the government shut down.
We have to remain liquid. We can't give everything away based on a number. Here's an example. When I was president, the number that you're talking about was a tiny fraction of what it is now. Biden went totally crazy, gave it to anybody that would ask.
He's talking about Obamacare.
To people that were able-bodied, had no problem. Anybody that would ask would get the number. And it's many times the number of people are on. This wasn't meant for that. It was meant for people that had real problems. In many cases, people that were down and out, people that could be saved. It wasn't meant for people that could do whatever they want. The people that say, well, I don't think I'll work. I'll just, collect this money. Take a look at the number of what it was during my administration and what it was during the Biden administration. It went up many, many times my first term.
And that is actually Donald Trump talking about food stamps and SNAP and all that kind of stuff. And again, the developing story this morning where the Supreme Court is apparently demanding that Donald Trump I'm sorry, do I have that right? Is it the Supreme Court that is demanding that Trump pay? No. Who is it, Joan? Help
it's
me.
A federal judge.
Federal judge, yep. Of course. That's right. Federal judge is now saying it's going to go probably up to the Supreme Court. Federal judge is now ruling that Donald Trump must pay full SNAP benefits. I guess it's as soon as possible. He's already made a partial payment. Federal judge. So we'll keep an eye on that story. There's a lot going on this morning as far as the news goes. The Super Text line is open. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. I want to play because, one of the things that I've thought has been really interesting through all of this is that you have the Democrats, and they're all over the place on this filibuster. And obviously, this is something that continues to be a conversation. Should the Republicans in the Senate eliminate the filibuster to get the government back open? And so you have now the Democrats, and they're just falling all over themselves saying, oh, no, we have to have the filibuster, right? Because the Democrats are filibustering to keep the government closed right now. Well, it wasn't just a few years ago that Hakeem Jeffries told none other than Al Sharpton that the filibuster was a relic of the Jim Crow era. That's right.
Congressman, you tweeted yesterday that the filibuster is a fact of the Jim Crow era. We cannot let it stand in the way of progress.
High priority issues for the American people that are being held up in the Senate right now because of the presence of the filibuster.
So basically, here's what happens. And look, Republicans are guilty of this, too. I mean, they're doing it right now. Where the party that's in, I think Brian and I spoke about this, the party that is not in power traditionally loves the filibuster. And then once they get into power, suddenly they hate the filibuster because, the other party that was in, that did have the majority now does not have the majority. And now they're using the filibuster. In other words, whoever has the majority in the Senate hates the filibuster. And whoever is not in the majority loves the filibuster, right? So this is Hakeem Jeffries. Clearly, he loves the filibuster now, but during this time, he's talking about Donald Trump. He's talking about how when the Democrats had the majority in the Senate.
And so a minority of senators are allowed to block progress for the majority of the American people. And that's something that has to change. Filibuster was first deployed by Senator Calhoun in the run-up to the Civil War.
Do you know what Donald Trump should do if he hasn't done this already? Because now Hakeem Jeffries, I'm going to play this real quick. So now Hakeem Jeffries is going to talk about whatever pretzel logic he's going to use to say that the filibuster is, racially tinged and from the Jim Crow era. Donald Trump should take this and post it up on True Social and tell the Republicans, okay, Republicans, listen, Hakeem Jeffries says that this is racially tinged and a relic of the Jim Crow era. So then maybe in respect of Hakeem Jeffries, we need to go ahead and eliminate the filibuster in honor of Hakeem Jeffries.
To try to protect white supremacy as well as the institution of slavery. And then in terms of its modern form, it was really deployed in the early part of the 20th century to stop civil rights legislation, including anti-lynching legislation that passed the House of Representatives in the early part of the 20th century, but could never break through a Senate filibuster. And that is part of the legacy of the absence of progress that we're still living with to this day.
I love how Hakeem Jeffries is like, oh, the absence of progress. You know what they're talking about when they talk about progress? Voter ID. about how Republicans want voter ID and Democrats don't want voter ID. Essentially, whenever Democrats talk about progress, they always talk about, all of those DEI initiatives. That's what Hakeem Jeffries is talking about. But here's the deal, is that for the Republicans, if that's the way that the Democrats feel, in solidarity, in a rare sign of solidarity, Republicans and Democrats, maybe what we do need to do is eliminate the filibuster. Because, listen, Hakeem Jeffries, that's what the man says. So that's what we need to do, is eliminate the filibuster. To honor, you know what we do? We eliminate the filibuster in honor of Nancy Pelosi, who is retiring. I love, by the way, what Donald Trump said about Nancy Pelosi. That and a whole lot more straight ahead. 7:53, Joan's got the news at 8. Joan.
Yeah, it was an officer-involved shooting. We've got more on what's happening downtown this morning outside the Greyhound station. It's coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. It is 7:53 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986. Imagine if your Wi-Fi was a lot smarter. Now picture it, your TV, your phone, your laptop, even your fancy fridge, working together to make life easier. Well, Xfinity makes that dream a reality. Devices so in sync that you'd think they're telepathic. Really smart Wi-Fi that knows when your device needs a boost. The best equipment to stream 4 games at once with multi-view. And Xfinity Mobile that gives you Wi-Fi where you need it and 5G everywhere else. Now, that's the magic of Xfinity. It is seamlessly in tune with you. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Now, I have been a customer of Xfinity, I kid you not, for years, far, far longer than I've actually been an endorser of Xfinity, and that's why I talk about them all the time. To get started, call them, visit Xfinity.com, or drop into an Xfinity store today. That's Xfinity.com, or drop into an Xfinity store today. Dan Mandis here. Now, this month, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they are serving up big savings and big gratitude here in the month of Thanksgiving. If you've got a clogged drain, don't wait. Get their $93 or free main line opening special. That's right. It's only $93, which, by the way, in and of itself, a huge discount. Now, here's where the free comes in. You get a free main line opening special if Busy Bee cannot figure out why your drains are clogged. That's right. Service is going to be free if they can't figure it out. Offer valid for single-family homes only. It is important to do this heading into the holidays and the really cold season, by the way, and it's only $93. That is a big-time savings, again, courtesy of Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And, of course, they're honoring the heroes as well. One veteran, courtesy of Busy Bee, is going to win a $50 heater with expansion tank and installation. Just send them a photo in uniform to enter. The winner is going to be announced on Veterans Day. That is going to be on November 11th. Now, don't forget their big special going on right now. Big savings and big gratitude with their $93 or free main line opening special. $93 is all it takes. And if they can't figure out the problem, your service is actually free. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. BusyBee, HVAC.com. 7:59, Nashville's morning news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Happy Friday to you. Don't forget, we do have some rather dicey weather coming up later on. Your complete forecast is coming up, and we do still have that closure. Sammy didn't mention it in the traffic report because it's more of a police-involved situation. Large police presence at 4th and Lafayette, so we are watching that, and we're monitoring to get you all the very latest. Joan has the news coming up here at 8 o'clock on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. Now 8 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Yeah, we have more information now on that heavy police presence in downtown Nashville. WSMV4 now reporting officers responded to a call of shots fired at the Greyhound station at 5th and Lafayette Streets about 6:45 this morning. And while at the scene, officers engaged with a man there, and then shots were fired. Now, we don't know if anyone was injured. We do know, however, the police are still on the scene, along with officers from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. That intersection at 5th and Lafayette Streets still blocked off this morning. We will continue to track the story and bring you any new information as we learn it. Big announcement yesterday about a crime-battling task force here in Tennessee. Channel 4's Braden Ross.
It's a Homeland Security task force created, and it comes from an executive order signed by President Trump on his first day in office. That was back in January. And it directed the Department of Homeland Security to create a task force like this in every state. And these efforts have been underway here in Tennessee since around March, they said today, but today makes the task force official.
Metro Nashville Police, part of that task force, too. And Chief John Drake said that the city is safer because of it.
Just over 2 years ago, detectives in our Specialized Investigation Division saw a rise in violent crime, including non-lethal shooting and homicides connected to the transnational criminal organization MS-13.
In a separate move, officials said ICE is planning to open a national call center in Nashville to help locate undocumented children. The search continues today for a 46-year-old Brentwood man wanted for crimes including sexual exploitation of a child and violating sex offender laws. Police in Williamson County said they tried to pull over a car driven by William Frankenbach yesterday, but he led them on a pursuit, and then he abandoned his car near Ascension St. Thomas West Hospital in Nashville, and they believed that he ran into the building. Now, after a search, that hospital was reopened, but Frankenbach is still missing. Anyone with information is encouraged to call Crime Stoppers of Williamson County. New York Congressman Elise Stefanik with a big announcement this morning.
Is a courageous leader, ready for the fight. Elise Stefanik will make New York affordable and safe.
People in New York, no matter if you're
apparently seeing an opening after the current governor Kathy Hochul's endorsement of Zohran Mamdani. She is running for governor. She says that she will be speaking more about this. And in fact, she has spoken to Fox News this morning. But again, the current Congresswoman Elise Stefanik is now running for governor of New York. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. About a half hour to go here before the opening bell. Not looking too good. The Dow futures are down 93. NASDAQ futures minus 110. S&P futures, they're down 20. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, we're still jammed up 5th and Lafayette this morning because of that officer-involved shooting and the investigation that's taking place there right now. That's just outside the Greyhound bus station. I-840 northbound Murfreesboro. We got an accident before Jefferson Pike, exit 61. Also on the westbound side of I-840, right at exit 31 in Franklin. It's a crash reported and stop-and-go traffic for a couple of miles leading up to it. Madison, Gallatin Pike South at East, Old Hickory Boulevard. Watch for another accident scene there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
New. 8:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, it's interesting, Joan, about Elise Stefanik.
Yeah.
She's jumping into the race for governor for New York, of course. I guess, is Kathy Hochul, she must be term limited. So I'm trying to figure out, is she jumping into the race because Mamdani won and because she understands that the Democrats are going to destroy the city of New York, and so she sees an opportunity here? Is that what your take is on this?
That's my take on it. She did wait until after the election was over.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy Hochul is not term limited.
Is she going to primary Kathy Hochul?
Well, no, because Elise Stefanik
no, it's not
is...
Yeah. I got it. Okay.
So she's going to challenge her. I'm just
Boy,
saying
I love
here.
that. I don't know how popular Kathy Hochul is in New York. I know people are listening from New York. Hey, New York, you're listening to a conservative talk show host. You hate Kathy Hochul as much as I do. Anyway.
Kathy Hochul said she isn't thinking about her next reelection. 2026 may be a long way off, but I'm running. I'm preparing for that race. So, yes, It looks like it's going to be at least Elise Stefanik in the race.
Yeah, I wonder, so will other Republicans, this is why the word primary is on my mind. So I wonder if any other Republicans will run in a Republican primary in New York for the governorship. And will any Democrats try to primary Kathy Hochul?
Look, Elise Stefanik has A, the money, B, the backing of the Republican Party, C, the name recognition. I mean, she could do well here. But
wasn't she going to go off and do something?
Yeah, she was going to be an ambassador.
Yeah, she was going to be. That's right.
Appointed
she was going to be an
President
ambassador.
Trump. Yeah.
And people lost their mind because they were like, why would you do that?
Yes, because the problem is that in the House of Representatives, the margin was so slim and they were afraid if they put somebody else in or there was a long period of time where somebody, where nobody was sitting in that seat, it would not be good. So he pulled back on that.
Do we know anything more on 4th and Lafayette?
Yeah, it was an officer-involved shooting. Police responded to calls of shots fired there at the Greyhound bus station. And they did respond. And once they got there, there was a man there. They engaged with him, perhaps verbally. It appears that they engaged with him verbally. And then at some point, shots were fired between them. I don't know anything about yet if anyone was struck, injured.
Okay.
But we do know that TBI is on the scene. So anytime that there is an officer-involved shooting, you're going to see TBI in the scene. So TBI is there. Local police are there. Crime scene tape is all over the place. The intersection is still shut down. That's about it for now. But,
all right. Well, Joan's got all the latest. Dan Mandis here at 8:09, Nashville's Morning News. So in the news today, and a lot of people, people tune in and out a lot here on the radio. And so if you missed it earlier, President Trump, you're waking up this morning, you find out that President Trump, rather randomly, has pardoned former Tennessee House Speaker Glenn Casada and his former Chief of Staff, Casada+Cothren. Also involved in this situation is a former representative out of Hickson, Robin Smith. Now, remember the story. Casada and Cothren were convicted of charges related to bribes and kickbacks. Now, a lot of this goes back to like 2018, 2019, and then 2022. So this whole Glenn Casada storyline had been going on for quite some time. So I had to go back this morning because I was here for all of this, but I had to remind myself of some of the complexities of this situation. So let's retrace just a little bit. Because I don't understand. I'm just going to tell you right up front, friends, and a lot of, well, not a lot of people. Some people were angry with me for my official talk show host take, which was, I don't know why President Trump did this. As a matter of fact, we did the Daily Dan poll. Can you look up the Daily Dan poll, if you could? We asked folks if they agreed with President Trump and his pardoning of Glenn Casada and Cade Cothren, which I woke up to this news. What are people saying on the YouTube line? YouTube, whatever the hell it is. Go.
Do you believe Trump was right to pardon Casada and Cothren? 73% no, 27% yes.
Wow, so that has not changed.
No.
It has been exactly the same. Okay. 2022. The accusation is that Glenn Casada and his former chief of staff, Cade Cothren, and Representative Smith started this bogus company called Phoenix Solutions, where they printed up mailers for politicians and other things, I guess. But those three ended up getting kickbacks. That was the accusation. And so the whole thing went in front of a grand jury, and then it went to a jury, and ultimately they were found guilty of well over a dozen charges. Cade Cothren and Glenn Casada was. Robin Smith, who, again, was involved in all of this, well, she dropped the dime on the other two. So she ended up cooperating with the prosecution, and no word on if former Representative Smith will actually be getting a pardon as well. But right now, Casada and Cothren have prosecutors, and this is what it was all about. Prosecutors said that they received more than $35,000 in bribes and kickbacks because the company, Phoenix Solutions, you remember some of this, where they did these services, but you had apparently Casada and perhaps Cothren as well, but they were running around trying to get lawmakers to utilize Phoenix Solutions for these mailers. And these mailers, this is more to the story than I shared earlier. I guess in the Tennessee state legislature, at the time, maybe it's more now, I don't know. But you got $3,000 of taxpayer money that is allocated for this kind of thing. So the accusation is that they essentially stole taxpayer money, got kickbacks and bribes utilizing taxpayer money. So bottom line is the prosecutor said that these three ultimately received more than $35,000 in bribes and kickbacks because that company, Phoenix Solutions, that did all of these services was actually run by Cade Cothren, Glenn Casada, and this Robin Smith. But nobody knew it at the time. So it was called Phoenix Solutions. Cothren used a fake name, Matthew Phoenix, to hide his identity. This is from Channel 5 back at the time where they fill in some of the blanks.
While the need for secrecy, at the time, Casada and Cothren still had, quote, radioactive reputations after a texting scandal first uncovered by News Channel 5 Investigates. The prosecution revealed their desire to hide their involvement also included lying on their Tennessee Ethics Commission forms. Casada and Smith did not disclose they made money off of Phoenix Solutions as a part of their income.
Yeah. So there you go. That's part of the reporting at the time. That texting scandal, by the way, was really bad. Now, if you recall, and there's a lot of new people coming into Nashville, but these were text messages between Glenn Casada and Cade Cothren, and, you know, you name it, racist, misogynistic, and sexually explicit, and all of that stuff. Channel 5 does an investigative report. I don't know if that was Phil Williams, but Channel 5 did an investigative report, and these text messages were leaked. So Governor Bill, they were so appalling that Governor Lee actually threatened a special session to remove Casada from the speakership if he didn't step down himself. The Republicans in the House passed a no confidence vote against him as well. And that was the first time that it ever happened in Tennessee history. So that was the texting scandal that led to Glenn Casada losing the speakership. Then the Phoenix Solution stuff started bubbling to the surface. We're going to talk about that straight ahead. And I don't know why Donald Trump decided to go ahead and pardon these two. I don't believe that it was the right move. You folks know that I'm a supporter of Donald Trump, but when he does something I don't agree with, I am not afraid to call it out. 8:15, time to check the roads on WTN.
The second is on 840 westbound. That's just before I-65 exit 31 in Franklin. And lastly, a crash in Madison. That one's on Gallatin Pike at Old Hickory Boulevard. I'm Sadie Kincaid.
And that police presence still continues at 4th and Lafayette. And so you want to avoid that area as well. So talking about President Trump pardoning, I don't know exactly when this came out. I woke up to the news very surprised by it. Former Tennessee Speaker Glenn Casada, his former chief of staff, Casada+Cothren. And so President Trump decided to pardon them. It went before a grand jury, and then it went to a jury trial. Glenn Casada was convicted on 14 counts, charges related to conspiracy, honest services fraud, bribery, theft, money laundering. Casada+Cothren had similar charges. And so the crux of the accusation is that they created this consulting firm called Phoenix Solutions, run by Cothren, then pressured other House Republicans to have their mailers printed through this company, among other work, I suppose. And then those three, got kickbacks, Casada+Cothren and Representative Smith. Smith, that former representative out of Hickson, turned on the other two, ended up testifying against Cothren and Casada. So at the time all of this started, Glenn Casada was no longer speaker. Remember, he basically was forced to step down. He did continue to serve in the Tennessee House of Representatives, but ultimately he ended up not running for re-election. But, I mean, this was a very big deal. And our own Phil Valentine, back when all of this was going on, Casada, and I wish I could still, if anybody has the link, Pamela Furr might have this link. I think they did a story, Channel 5 did a story on Casada coming on Phil Valentine's show at the time. I remember this. And basically Phil accused him of lying and said, you told me this a few, whatever it was, a few months ago, and now all of this is coming out. And it was a big disagreement on the air between Casada and Phil Valentine. And so now we have the president, after all of this happened, the president decided to pardon Glenn Casada and Casada+Cothren. Now, when he was getting kickbacks, when all of this was going on, people started asking questions. And they went to current speaker, because, when Casada dropped out, when he stepped down, then you had Cameron Sexton, and he ran against a whole bunch of other folks, and Sexton ultimately won the speakership. People started coming to Sexton and said, you got Casada who's, pressuring us to use this Phoenix Solutions. And sort of the accusation started bubbling, and Sexton did his own investigation, it would appear, and he found that there was something untoward going on. And that's when he turned it over to the Biden administration, the FBI.
Smith shared how she also used her influence as a committee chair and sitting lawmaker to speed up getting paid by the state. She said, quote, I had inside access. I made sure she, as in Connie Ridley, who handled state contracts, remembered I was a chairman.
All right, so you had some pressure campaigns going on as well. As I said, Smith ended up cooperating with authorities, testifying against the other two. She ended up pleading guilty to wire fraud. So far, no word on a pardon for her. She was sentenced to 8 months in prison. But I'm not going to stop saying this, because there's a big divide, it would appear, within the Republican Party. But grand jury indictments, then you had a jury trial. It was a 4-week trial. They were convicted again of more than a dozen public corruption charges. Here's more of what was discovered at that jury trial, courtesy back then of Channel 5.
We also got a better idea of how the trio split their profits. Smith showed emails she received from Cothren showing how Cothren would receive 30% of the profits on the mailers. Casada and Smith would each receive 25%, and 20% would remain in the company. At the time of that email, April 2020, Phoenix Solutions had made about $16,000. The defense has long contended all of this money was honestly made and shouldn't be considered a kickback. And then there was this bombshell. We've told you a lot about how Kate Cothren used a fake identity, Matthew Phoenix, in this scheme. Well, we now know of a second fake name that was used, Candace McKay. She was supposed to be an accountant, and that email account was run by a former girlfriend of Kate Cothren's. The jury also heard a recorded phone call between West Tennessee lawmaker Ron Gant and Robin Smith, in which Smith gave more elaborate fake details about this company to him and lied about many of the actual details.
All right, so there you go. By the way, it was a judge named Eli Richardson who presided over the case, not a Joe Biden appointee. It was a Donald Trump. He is a Donald Trump nominee, later confirmed, obviously, Eli Richardson. Now, this comes just in the nick of time because for those two, for Glenn Casada and Kate Cothren, because they were just days away from having to report to federal prison. Glenn Casada was due to start his sentence on the 21st, right before Thanksgiving. He was looking at a 3-year term. Kate Cothren was supposed to report on the 17th. He was going to start a 2.5-year term. Also, by the way, Casada had to pay $30,000 in fines, repay $4,600. Kate Cothren had to pay a $25,000 fine and repay the money that he earned through that bogus consulting firm. Apparently, Donald Trump calling Casada personally. The White House said this was Biden's DOJ that was out of control and that they were overcharged because of a politicized DOJ. And so one of the questions that we asked earlier was, who got this in front of Donald? Because I believe that this was the wrong move by Donald Trump. I do. Now, if I was going to, put my other side of the story hat on, maybe you could say, well, this was a Nashville jury, and Nashville juries hate Republicans. Maybe you could say that. I don't know. But somebody got this in front of Donald Trump and convinced the president to pardon these two. Some are saying it was John Rich. There was an article out that said that it was John Rich. I really don't know. I have no idea. But I do believe that this was wrong for the president to do this because I think these two, there's a lot of people, and I'm assuming nobody wants to really talk about this right now. I tried to get Cameron Sexton on, but state legislators, they're not talking about this. But I'd be willing to bet that there's a lot of state legislators this morning who are just a little, and a lot of these folks are, friends of Donald Trump, are supporters of Donald Trump. But I think they might be a little befuddled this morning because the president has decided to pardon Glenn Casada and Kate Cothren. They had their day in court. Again, you're talking about a Donald Trump appointed judge. They went through the grand jury process. They went through a jury of their peers, and they were found guilty. And I got a lot of pushback earlier today. Said, Mandis, what are you doing? Shut up. This is our side. And I'm going to tell you folks the same thing that I said in the 6. Just because somebody has an R next to their name doesn't mean that they should not be held accountable because Republicans do bad stuff too. And so, but the president did what he did. So we'll have to see if there's any more pushback on this or what ultimately happens with this conversation here in Tennessee regarding the very surprising, at least to me, the surprising pardon of Glenn Casada and also Kate Cothren. And again, we'll have to see what happens with Robin Smith. It is 8:24 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan, what do we got coming up?
Yeah, we have just learned that officer-involved shooting around the bus station this morning has turned deadly. We've got details on it coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. It is 8:25 now. Coming up on 8:25, Dan here for Contours. Listen, if you want to trim up for the holidays, check out my friends at Contours. You get a Belly Buster special from Contours, $99. That is a big discount if you are one of the first 10 callers right now. Operators are standing by. 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960. First 10 callers going to get that $99 special courtesy of my friends at Contours. Most people are going to lose a couple of inches across the middle. Now, you're taking advantage of Contours red light technology. Now, if you don't know about red light technology, honestly, here in 2025, it is all the rage. It is not only incredibly unique, but it's also effective. Utilizing, again, that red light technology courtesy of Contours. That phone number, first 10 callers right now, 615-236-9960, 615-236-9960. If you don't really know all that much about red light technology, go to their website, contoursllc.com. contoursllc.com, and they've got videos and pictures and the whole thing. That phone number, one more time, 615-236-9960. Contours. All you've got to lose is inches. $8:26 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Loan Pronto. Now, what if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Dan Mandis here, and right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days, pay off those high-interest credit cards, and even skip your next 2 house payments. Now, one client going through Loan Pronto just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off their debt. They paid off a couple of car loans as well and saved $2,100 a month. One call, life changed, courtesy of Loan Pronto. There's no wait, no hard credit pull up front. You probably won't even need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Now, rates are right now at a 3-year low. Act right now at 615-499-5780. 615-499-5780. Find them online anytime. It is loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They've got nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. 615-499-5780, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. On approved credit, visit nmlsconsumeraccess.org.
Good morning. Now 8:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The downtown shooting that has closed down the intersection at 5th and Lafayette Streets this morning. Police were called to that Greyhound bus station at that location about 6:45 this morning for what they said was a suicidal man. And when police arrived there, they say that he told them he had a gun and then he reached into his backpack. That's when police fired on him. That man has since died. The officers are on administrative duty now. The investigation at that intersection 5th and Lafayette is still very active. Great place for you to avoid this morning. It is eyes to the sky this afternoon. Stefano is telling us some of the storms headed our way could be severe.
As we head through the afternoon, even in the mid-afternoon, there could be a couple of isolated thunderstorms that fire up. But we're really looking toward the end of our day today, toward the evening commute and dinner time for a few more showers and thunderstorms and that increased threat for strong to severe thunderstorms as well.
And he says expect some heavy rain, lightning, perhaps hail, and a very slight chance of a tornado. Now, we're going to keep on top of this throughout the day. Keep it here on WTN. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management.
Good. By the way, I like how you oohed the market report.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Well, we lost a lot on the markets yesterday, and so here we go again today.
Yeah. All right.
Just don't look at the 401k. Don't do that.
Window Nation. I try not to, but you know what? Well, I'm not going to get into it. Window Nation. Joan, why do you pull me into these things?
It's so easy to pull you down the rabbit hole.
Really it is. The window, but you know what?
Yeah.
I love Window Nation.
There you go.
There you go.
It's not a rabbit hole. It's Window Nation.
Very good, Joan.
Okay.
All right, Window Nation. Now, right now, they've got a great deal going on here in November. You know, this is my window company, right? I've had 4 windows put in my basement studio and also my kitchen. And right now, they've got a great deal going on. You can take advantage of Window Nation's year-end sale going on this month. 50% off all window styles, and you could get 0% interest financing for 5 years. That's right. 0% interest financing for 5 years and 50% off all window styles. And they've got a ton of styles, by the way. I love Window Nation. Your windows are going to be put in a day or less, and their installation crews, they're qualified. They've put in thousands of windows. Check them out today. 866-90Nation is the phone number for Window Nation. A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. And your new windows are going to look great. They've got a 96% customer satisfaction rating. 866-90Nation is the phone number. 866-90Nation, windownation.com. (8:34) Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Legends Steakhouse. By the way, have you ever, Chris, eaten at Legends? Oh, yeah. Man, I got to tell you, 2 thumbs up from Legends Steakhouse, and props for doing this. Legends Steakhouse and their sister restaurant, the Brass Lantern, are showing gratitude this Veterans Day by offering free meals to active and retired military on November 11th. Now, this special offer is available at all Legends Steakhouse locations: Columbia, Pulaski, Smyrna, and Shelbyville. Brass Lantern, of course, in Lawrenceburg as well. The complimentary meal features guest choice of any entree listed on the menu. A valid military ID is required to participate in the Veterans Day promotion. I'm not having a stroke. Since 1988, Legend Steakhouse and the Brass Lantern have been serving high-quality, made-from-scratch dishes for some of the best steaks you can find across Middle Tennessee and northern Alabama. Do you know, that'd be a great topic. Joan, you can participate in this.
Okay.
You can participate, too. Super texters as well. What is the best steak in Tennessee? Where can you get... let's not do Tennessee. Let's do Middle Tennessee. Where can you get the best steak in Middle Tennessee? Because I'm a big...
It's clearly going to be Legend Steakhouse on Veterans Day.
On Veterans Day, it's going to be Legend Steakhouse.
Oh, yeah.
The restaurants have an ongoing commitment to excellent service and exceptional quality. So don't forget, Veterans Day, Legend Steakhouse, and the Brass Lantern. You vets are going to get free meals, and I love that. 8:36 on WTN.
So we've got a crash this morning on I-840 westbound before I-65, exit 31. Pretty slow going approaching that spot, too. Also, on 24, the westbound side in Antioch before Hickory Hollow Parkway, a crash takes out the left shoulder. Also, you've got the ongoing scene this morning, the police tape around the area at 5th and Lafayette Streets because of that officer-involved shooting. That's a great place to avoid this morning as well. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I can tell. 8:37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Chris Hand is very upset today.
I'm very upset.
He's. You want to talk about why you're upset, or do you want to save that for your radio?
No,
broadcast?
we can talk about it.
Because I kind of hit on the same thing earlier today, as a matter of fact. So go ahead. I had not heard this, but you go ahead and you present.
So here's one of the things that I was the most frustrated with the Biden administration is they told us that the economy's going well, and we're like, guys, we can see what's happening in real time. The Trump administration had a grave, unforced error once again. They announced the other day that the Walmart 2025 Thanksgiving basket was going to be 25% cheaper than the year before. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Except that the internet exists, and people pulled up the 2024 Walmart Thanksgiving basket versus the 2025 Walmart Thanksgiving basket, and they realized that items are now missing from the menu this year that were on the menu last year.
Wah, wah.
So, like, what do you do? Like, what? Like, and I don't mean to blame Trump. This is some unnamed staffer that's doing this, right? But what are you doing?
So
that's an unforced error. Don't say anything at all.
A couple of things. Number one, the buck stops with Trump.
Fair.
Okay. So the buck stops with Trump. And one of the things that infuriated me about the Biden administration was the constant gaslighting. And again, I did talk about this earlier, where we know you're working on it. And so you don't have to lie. We know that you're working on it. And there's, as I said yesterday, there's stuff that's going to be cheaper. There's stuff that's going to be more expensive. You're working on it. You've done a lot with the Middle East and the stopping of the conflicts and all that kind of stuff. Now it's time to focus on the economy, but don't lie to us.
But when you drop pecan pie and you switch from homemade stuffing ingredients to stovetop stuffing pre-made,
oh boy,
that's not 25% cheaper, guys.
No, it's not. Well, do you know what that is? It's a lie.
It's gaslighting.
And it's gaslighting. And that is wrong.
And I'm the biggest Trump administration supporter. This is
me too.
Just...
everybody knows that we love Trump. I voted for the man 3 times. And you know what? If he is up for re-election, I'd vote for him again. But don't lie.
I'd vote for him 5 times if I could. And with the modern advances in medicine, who says that he doesn't get a 6th or 7th term?
You know, you're gonna trigger Afton Bain. You're gonna trigger Afton Bain and Jasmine Crockett crap.
Are they? She's
Jasmine
in town.
Crockett's
She's
here.
in town today, right?
Yeah, she is.
People are so excited.
I'm not. Are you excited that Jasmine Crockett's here?
No, I was joking, Dan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to know which. Hey, Joan, which do you think is the which version of Jasmine Crockett's going to show up today? Do you think it's going to be Street Jasmine or College Jasmine?
I think we're going to get Southern Belle Jasmine.
Southern Belle Jasmine.
Yeah, that sounds
So you're
about
gonna wear
right.
like a summer dress? Well, who
I
wears
do
summer dress?
declare.
Oh my God.
Afton Bain is the only choice for Congress.
She'll have like biscuits in her purse or something. What screams? Help me out. What screams Southern that you could put in your purse?
I don't know.
I like the biscuits.
A gun. Very good.
A gun.
That's actually good, whatever your name is, Sam.
Yeah.
My name's Jeff.
Because Hillary had the hot sauce, right, in her purse. I forget where she was.
No, that was just how she took her tranquilizers. Liquid form.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people are mad at me on the text line because they say the CEO of Walmart was the one that said the Thanksgiving dinner would be 25% cheaper.
Oh, was it?
Okay, so the Trump administration didn't do any research before they went and ran with it?
You don't run with things until you do your research. I did my one of my main stories today with this whole Glenn Casada, Casada+Cothren thing. I had to recollect and do my research for like 2 hours on that because it's been a long time since I've really focused on it.
Yep.
To make sure that my ducks were in a row, and I think that there's some losing of the way on this one. Folks can disagree with me all you want. You're not going to change my mind. But one of the things that people are saying, and I did say this during the monologue during the segment, was the other side of this. I believe that Donald Trump was wrong, but the other side of this is that people say that they were overcharged. Okay, there's two sides, but it's clear that they, at least to me, the evidence was there. It's clear that they did this. So anyway, whatever. I don't care. I've said my piece on that.
That's the other thing that with the Trump administration, they pardoned the other guy. He's asked about it in the interview, and he goes, I don't really know who he is. And it's like, aren't we trying to get the last guy on pardoning people that he didn't know about? Yeah. I mean, the auto pen. So, we run the risk of looking like hypocrites if we don't call this out on stuff that, Joe Biden did. Yep. And obviously, we're not comparing Donald Trump to Joe Biden by any stretch of the imagination. But as far as the Walmart thing, I didn't know about that whole thing. But here's the deal, is that rest assured, we all know that there is work to be done on the economy, and Trump's working on it. That's my official talk show host position on that. Yep.
So he did say that, things are going great in America. He said that to Brett Baer yesterday. And as I said, some stuff is cheaper, some stuff is higher. They're working on it. It's still not as bad as Joe Biden. That's my thing, is it's still not as bad as Biden, who by Joe Biden's own actions, as you've talked about, by Joe Biden's own actions, he made the inflation rate up to 9.1%.
Yep.
So I get it. Trump's got some work to do. But the moron leftists out there that are saying, stuff is still expensive. Okay, can we talk about 9.1% inflation? Can we talk about that?
Come on, man.
That's
inflation is absolutely cooled. I mean, you can't argue with that. Prices are still high, but that doesn't mean that inflation is as rampant as it once was.
Exactly.
I didn't pay $2.19 a gallon during the Biden administration.
That's exactly right. See, so there's some stuff that is cheaper. There's some stuff that is more expensive. And you start talking about inflation, core inflation, the prices of this, that, and the other. It's very complicated. I will admit that when Amy and I are looking at our, because I made the joke yesterday about our, our list of things that we buy, our groceries are cheaper now than they were when Joe Biden was in office. So, and I understand, again, some things are more expensive. You compare your own receipt and do what you will. I'm not here to...
You can do that in the Walmart app.
I know.
You can go look at what you paid.
I did that one time on the air. I had people check out their Walmart app, and it was during the Biden administration. And you know what? People can do that now.
Yep.
If you want to.
See what you paid last year.
Are you a Walmarter, or where do you shop?
We do a little bit of Walmart, a little bit of Aldi, a little bit of Kroger.
Okay.
We know where to go for what.
Yeah. Best steak.
Yep.
Best steak in Middle Tennessee.
I don't know. I usually just cook my own.
On the charcoal grill.
No, it's propane.
Whoa.
Gotta be charcoal.
No, I'm full Hank Hill on this one. Propane and propane accessories.
Propane and propane accessories.
Do you know my dad sold propane?
And propane
my dad was literally
accessories.
Hank Hill.
Really?
Yeah, my dad sold propane and Meter Equipment Company, and he would go around the country in his car selling propane tanks, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Propane and propane accessories.
That's what he would do.
One of my first jobs was refilling propane tanks at a campground.
No kidding.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, we had the big one, and I would fill everybody's up.
You're both wrong, by the way. It's a cast iron skillet over an open flame, and then you sear it and finish it in the oven at 350.
Nope. I go for the charcoal burn on the outside.
And then you baste it with garlic and thyme.
Medium rare on the inside.
We actually cooked steak last night. It's my wife's birthday. Happy birthday, Virginia.
Oh, Virginia, happy birthday.
So I cooked up some steaks last night, and I was like stuffing it with garlic and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's awesome.
Best cut.
Ribeye. Ribeye all day.
I go with sirloin only because I would agree ribeye is better. I go with sirloin because there's less calories. That's number one. Number two, I think I've talked about this before. You both mentioned garlic. I know Amy is yelling at the radio right now. No garlic is allowed on anything that she cooks.
Why not?
Is she a vampire?
No, it stinks. Garlic
smells
is gross.
beautiful.
Oh, garlic is the best. What do you mean?
Garlic is actually not the best. Garlic sticks on you for like days on end.
Do you know?
out your pores.
Do you know what we do?
Thank you, Joan.
It does, but I love it.
If the kids are sick, we're like chopping garlic up and putting it in a spoonful of honey. We call it honey drops for the kids.
All right, very good.
You ever taken a honey drop?
No.
Around here, we do it with Jack Daniels mixed in.
Do you know what? Maybe that's what Jasmine Crockett could put in her purse. A little thing of Jack Daniels.
I learned this from Kamala Harris. I always carry around
That's exactly
an
right.
airplane bottle of Jack D.
What are people saying, just real quickly, what are people saying about the best, where can you get the best steak in Tennessee? Besides, you know what what is the name of that place?
The Southern downtown?
Bourbon steak.
Bourbon steak is, Amy and I do this thing. We don't do it much lately, but we like to, about once a quarter, go into a, fancy pants kind of a place. And a bourbon steak is really good. Really, really good steak.
I got to say Jimmy Kelly's.
Jimmy Kelly's is good, too.
Classic.
I sound like an elitist.
You do.
Going to all these fancy restaurants.
What was the place that you didn't get to try the steak? Kid Rock's because of Brian Wilson?
Yep. Because of that darn Brian Wilson. Hey, by the way, have you heard, Chris, the new Nashvegas Anthem?
Oh, God, no.
Don't do it.
Oh, yeah.
We're out on Broadway in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. Ladies, you could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you chose to get over him in Nash Vegas.
What is this?
So the thing I love is their man bashing within the first 15 seconds. This is, I guess, the new Nashvegas Anthem, and it's called Broadway and Bitter. And people got really mad at me in the 5 o'clock hour for playing this because most people don't like it. Let me know what you think, Chris. This is someone named Tracy Lynn, by the way. I like this song. Now, I was the only one in an audience and host of thousands that actually liked this song.
My ears are bleeding.
Just so we're clear, Chris is into hip hop, so your ears have already been tainted.
That's so
exactly what it is.
There's some hip hop out there that's way better than this.
I'm sure she's a nice girl.
I don't know.
I don't want to besmirch her too much.
I made the comment in the 5 o'clock hour. I'm all about equity.
Are you?
I am. So if
inclusion?
And inclusion, sure. When I can. And so
YouTube chats are blowing up with you begging, please stop, please.
Don't worry, it'll get removed from YouTube soon enough.
Oh, gosh, I forgot about that.
Shut up.
Too bad, because it's been a good show. But anyway, so this song is about a woman who's been heartbroken by a man. So she goes to Nashvegas to, do all this stuff that women do when they're brokenhearted. So I now want a male version of this where the dude is brokenhearted and he parties it up on Broadway in Nashvegas. And he can talk about how awful he's been brokenhearted.
We need an incel anthem.
I said it to Dan
That's
earlier.
what we need.
Oh, my goodness gracious. That's funny. An incel. Do people know what Joan, do you know what an incel is?
I do, yeah.
Involuntarily celibate?
Yep.
Yes.
That's what we need. The people are demanding.
I think we style it, like I said earlier, about his fiance went to Broadway in Nashville to do her bachelorette weekend and cheated on him. That's where your song comes from.
Sure. By the way, the incel anthem. So I got so much hatred over this. So I'm going to, of course, do it again.
Perfect. Let's
so
go.
there was some sort of a thing that happened with the incels. I had never heard of incels years ago. And so...
Make them sound like a group. They have meetings.
Incel, and I'm like, what the heck is incel? So I did a little research in involuntarily celibate, guys that can't, get a woman to... And so I made the joke. I said, well, a lot of married guys feel like this. And the hatred that I got after that, I'm sorry, but... should I move on?
Amy might be hitting you with some...
You know what Amy's doing right now? She's putting garlic on steak. That's what's happening.
Good for your health.
It is.
I know. Yeah, actually, do you know what the funny thing is? So this is what Amy took a page out of my stepmom's book. So when I was a kid, I hated onions and I hated garlic. And so my stepmom, of course, being the evil, conniving stepmother that she was, I loved her to death. She would make stuff with garlic and onions and just not tell me it was in there.
Yeah.
Because a proper cook or chef or whatever blends the ingredients together to come up with a taste. And she was outstanding at that.
They also do that at old folks' homes.
So anyway, not anywhere as harsh as that hairy fig that Joan made me eat yesterday.
It was very good for you.
So anyway.
Probably also the hair that fell off her head onto the fig.
Yeah, I love that you call it a hairy fig.
That's what it was. It was a hairy fig.
It had a bit of fuzz.
Had a bit of fuzz. Anyway, so Amy now has started doing the same thing, cooking things with onions and garlic just to see if I can pick up on the nuance. And she's got me like 3 times. Like, I'm always now suspicious. It's like, oh, crap. Do I just say that I can taste the...
Yeah, you're essentially all of my kids. So if you know what's in there, then it's an issue. But if you aren't told, it's fine.
Chris Sandoval, garlic on Dan's pillow. LOL.
Garlic on your
BFS
pillow.
with Tampon Tim?
Who is?
Do I even know what that means? I don't know. Okay, what? I'm going to move on.
Move on from the text line.
I'm getting all of the. I'm wondering, like, what are all these people talking about? Oh, Jason says my favorite part of the song is when it's over. So there you go. People have said I sound rather. They didn't say angry, but people are saying this week I've sounded a little more not jazzed, but like excitable than usual. Joan, have you felt that? We've been together for about a year now. Have you noticed that I'm?
We've been together for about a year.
Well, no, on the morning show.
I know.
Have I been, overly?
I don't think overly. No. Yeah. Listen, mornings require some
energy.
Energy. That's it.
Somebody said I'm suffering from slippery elm withdrawal.
Is that what it is?
That's right. Apparently, maybe that's what it is.
You're not using slippery elm?
Trust me, I am.
Okay.
I think if anything, it's slippery elm overdose.
He's still hooked on the good stuff. Don't worry.
I am absolutely hooked on the good stuff. 8:54, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7, 615-737-9986 is the phone number. Joan, what do we got coming up at 9?
Yeah, the latest on that officer-involved shooting downtown this morning. Also, we're keeping our eyes on the sky. We've got some severe weather that is moving in later on this afternoon. All of that is coming up here at 9 o'clock.
You know what I think that is, the severe weather?
What's that?
I think that is God responding to Jasmine Crockett being in Middle Tennessee.
Oh, maybe a little lightning strike?
That's exactly what it is.
I got you.
You know that she's going to be in some sort of a high-fluting vehicle. Mm-hmm. She better hope that it's lightning proof. I'm just kidding. I don't want anybody to get struck by lightning. And that is my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
United Structural Systems. Now, I've been telling you about USS for a long time. Now, this is a great company. They are experts in waterproofing, concrete leveling, foundation repair, to name just a few. Again, great company. They've helped me several times with my home. That is why I proudly endorse. I was a customer before I was an endorser. And by the way, I am one of 30,000 satisfied customers. And let me tell you something. They've got a lot of satisfied customers. Again, 30,000. United Structural Systems. They're not going to charge you for any unnecessary repairs, and you're not going to pay a dime until the work is done, and you are a satisfied customer. Now, they can help you with a basement and crawl space, waterproofing, basement wall stabilization, foundation repair as well. So call them. We guarantee our best. Call USS. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855, USSTN.com. 8:59, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Murphy Show got me, guys. So
How?
He says, well, Dan, I voted for Trump 6 times. Dan only voted 3 times. So, of course, Matt is talking about the primaries as well. So,
the guy just wake up and choose violence.
He does. He does.
We love Matt Murphy.
We do. You know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to have a big time sit down between Matt Murphy and Gary Humble on the Chris Hand Show. I'm working on it. Murphy said he's in. Gary Humble is considering it.
Joan, what do you think? Well, Joan's not familiar with all the background.
From what I hear, you're going to need like boxing gloves and somebody to officiate.
Do you know what we ought to do? We ought to make that into a live broadcast.
Well, I just think it's just stupid to be arguing. Like, I think both those guys working together can get a lot more good done than anything that this stupid beef can do.
All right, let's see if that happens. Gary has refused to come on Murphy Show.
He's considering it. He's considering it.
All right, what else do you got coming up?
We're going to talk about the government shutdown. We'll talk about the filibuster, and we'll talk about Trump meeting with Central Asian presidents, getting trade deals done, and expanding the Abraham Accords.
All right, very good. Lots of Super Talk coming up on Super Talk 99.7.